Hello, dear viewers. Support me by subscribing to my channel and share my video if you like it. And also, make sure you comment your thoughts. Now let's start the video. Trunks and Vegeta's K were both powerful, but there was still a noticeable gap between them. Seeing everyone's surprised reactions, Vegeta felt smug. It had been a long time since he had experienced being the center of attention. Vegeta's fighting talent is really good. Beerus commented, being able to reach that level in such a short time. When Vegeta was young, Beerus thought he had potential, but the last meeting at Bulma's birthday party had been disappointing. This time, however, Vegeta did not disappoint. He didn't know who was more powerful this time between him and his son. Come on, Trunks, show me your so-called Super Saiyan 4 with all your strength. Vegeta raised the corner of his mouth in a smirk and said proudly. Apparently, the power of Super Saiyan God made him overconfident. Trunks nodded. Without hesitation, he rushed towards Vegeta, punching out with all his might. So fast! Vegeta, who was initially confident, was surprised by Trunks' speed. It was too late to counterattack, and dodging would be too embarrassing. He crossed his arms to block the attack. Boom. In the next second, Trunks' fist hit Vegeta's arms firmly. Accompanied by a low collision sound, Vegeta's body was directly blasted away by the punch. His feet skidded across the ground, leaving deep marks. Damn it! Why is this brat so fast and strong? Vegeta frowned. His arms felt numb from the impact. Trunks' power exceeded even Goku's. It seemed that the transformation of Super Saiyan 4 was indeed very powerful. It was a bit beyond his imagination. Just after Vegeta was knocked away with a punch, Trunks opened his hands, blasting countless energy balls at Vegeta. Rumble. The position Vegeta was in exploded instantly, and the rubble spread in all directions like bullets. Mushroom clouds made of dust also soared into the sky. Vegeta emerged from the dust cloud, looking contemptuous. Boy, although your power has improved, your attack method is still foolish. Such attacks waste strength. Vegeta swooped down, aiming a punch at Trunks between his eyebrows. He knew that even if the attack connected, it would not cause any fatal damage. Swish! Just when Vegeta was about to secretly rejoice, his fist pierced directly between the eyebrows of Trunks. What he hit was only an afterimage. No. Impossible. When did this brat move? Vegeta thought, stunned. He didn't see Trunks move at all just now. But the moment the punch was about to connect, this guy disappeared out of thin air. Dad, you're too careless, Trunks said from behind. Before Vegeta could react, Trunks punched him hard in the back, smashing him into the ground and creating a huge crater. Okay, that's amazing. Trunks' speed and power clearly surpass Vegeta's. If this continues, Vegeta will never be able to defeat Trunks. It's truly unbelievable. After becoming Super Saiyan 4, the strength increase can be so immense. Goku whispered in astonishment. Even he couldn't track Trunks' movements. Trunks' speed far exceeded theirs. Even if Goku transformed into Super Saiyan God, he wouldn't match Trunks. Trunks is too strong. Vegeta seems destined for defeat this time. Piccolo chimed in, having witnessed the power of Super Saiyan God before. It was a realm far beyond Super Saiyan 2 and 3, but he didn't expect that in front of Trunks, Vegeta would be so helpless. How? The improvement in Trunks is really outrageous. Whis, well acquainted with Vegeta and Goku's abilities, expressed surprise. It's really great. It seems that this time the competition between all universes, our 7th universe, will definitely win. Beerus was excited. Trunks and Vegeta had grown significantly stronger. Other universes stood no chance. And we have got Tin, whose strength rivals that of a Hakaishin. Beerus eagerly anticipated the defeated expressions on other Hakaishin's faces. Rumble. Hateful. Unforgivable. Just as everyone marveled at Trunks' power, the ground erupted. Vegeta leaped up, glaring at Trunks. His original plan was to showcase his strength through this battle. But now, Trunks surpassed him, bruising his fragile pride. Dad, stop! You're no match for me! Trunks pleaded. Continuing would only hurt Vegeta's pride further. But in this battle, Trunks couldn't hold back. He had to use all his strength. Stop talking like that, you brat. Today, I'll beat you to the ground. Vegeta roared, launching a frenzy of punches. His Super Saiyan God power surged. Trunks retaliated. Their fists clashed. Boom! Boom! The sky filled with hugging circles, their attacks sharp, elbows, knees collided relentlessly, yet no clear winner emerged. Vegeta grew more desperate, attacking fiercely, but his anger disrupted his style. It seems Vegeta will lose soon. His rage has disorganized his attacks. Goku wondered why Vegeta was so serious in a simple sparring match with his son. Vegeta continued his frantic assault. Trunks gave up, attacking at this time, and continuously dodged even after hundreds of attacks. Vegeta couldn't touch Trunks' body, which made him angrier. His way of attacking had also become more and more messy. This can't go on much longer. If the fight is not over as soon as possible, Dad will definitely continue to fight like this. Trunks pondered as he dodged Vegeta's attacks. If the fight dragged on, Vegeta's rage would persist. Dodging indefinitely wouldn't determine a winner. He considered several options, pretending to make a mistake and let Vegeta win, but that would bruise his pride more. Another choice was to defeat Vegeta completely and end the monotonous battle. Time was precious. There was no need to waste it. With determination, Trunks whispered, "Father, forgive me for this." As Vegeta lunged, Trunks sidestepped and delivered a powerful knee to Vegeta's abdomen. Because of the inertia of punching, Vegeta couldn't dodge at all. Boom! The instant a low crash sounded, Vegeta's body directly bent into a prawn. Holding his abdomen tightly with both hands, a look of incomparable pain appeared on his face. Trunks hit with all his strength just now. The power was indeed very terrifying. Bars! Holding his abdomen, Vegeta began to retch crazily. "I'm sorry, Dad." Seeing Vegeta with a painful face, Trunks also apologized sincerely. Then without hesitation, he punched Vegeta's right cheek heavily. Boom! There was another low crash sound, and Vegeta instantly fell to the ground in a straight line like falling meteorites. Rumble. The ground exploded in an instant, and Vegeta's body flew hundreds of feet away, directly skidding across the ground. Under everyone's gaze, Vegeta's hair instantly turned black. Returning to normal, Vegeta Goku murmured, understanding Vegeta's struggle. He knew Vegeta very well, and knew that being defeated by Trunks this time must be a very painful thing for Vegeta, because his pride was too strong. But this contest was originally proposed by Vegeta himself. No one can be blamed. Whoosh! At this time, Trunks also came down in front of everyone. Then he looked at Vegeta with a gloomy expression. "It's alright, Trunks. Just let him be alone for a while." Goku saw Trunks' guilt and said with a smile, "If Vegeta didn't suffer this blow, he would never grow up." Perhaps after fighting Trunks this time, Vegeta's strength would improve by leaps and bounds. Vegeta stood up slowly. At this time, his back was facing everyone. His face was gloomy and scary. Damn it all. Damn bastard. I actually lost to my son. Are you kidding? Clenching his fists tightly, Vegeta screamed frantically in his heart. He had achieved the form of Super Saiyan God. Why would he still lose to his own son? This joke was really too big. Beerus didn't care about Vegeta's inner turmoil. He walked directly in front of Trunks, patted Trunks on the shoulder, and praised him. "That's amazing, Trunks. I hadn't realized you could become so strong, kid. It's fortunate that I didn't send you back to your own timeline. Otherwise, we would have lost a powerful warrior." With Goten and Trunks, the 7th universe could definitely defeat the other universes and claim final victory. Beerus couldn't wait to see what reward Zeno would give after winning the championship. It was really exciting. "Thank you, Beerus-sama, for your compliment," Trunks said, smiling and nodding reluctantly. His eyes still glanced at Vegeta inadvertently. It seemed his attack was a bit too heavy, hurting Vegeta's pride, but if he had held back, it might have hurt Vegeta even more. With motivation, Vegeta might make faster progress. "Okay, everyone, I was really hungry during the training, just now," Wiz said, breaking the slightly dull atmosphere. "Let's get something to eat. After replenishing your energy, we can continue training." Seeing the delicacies on the table, Wiz was even less interested in anything else. Everyone sat down, but suddenly a purple crack tore open in the void of the God Realm. An overwhelming sense of oppression followed. Beerus and Wiz were the first to react, looking up in horror. "That is Daishinkan-sama is here." Wiz immediately sensed the Grand Priest Teak. After all, the Grand Priest was his father, and that key was very familiar to him. Are you kidding me? Daishinkan-sama? Beerus was instantly frightened, his pupils constricting. Although the Grand Priest was only Zeno's attendant, his strength was not weaker than Zeno's. The admiration and fear all Hakuheian and angels felt for him were not weaker than what they felt for Zeno. The Grand Priest hadn't visited the 7th universe for a long time. Beerus didn't know why he had come this time. While everyone was puzzled by Beerus and Whiss's reaction, in the void crack in the sky, a figure suddenly appeared. With silver hair and short stature, there was an angel halo behind him. The professional suit he wore had a big character on a golden emblem. Daishinkan, what is he doing in the 7th universe? Could it be because of Zeno holding the Tournament of Power? Goten thought immediately. There seemed to be no other reason. The moment he saw the Grand Priest, the overwhelming sense of oppression made Goten instantly realize the gap between them. That gap was like a world of difference, completely irreparable. The Grand Priest was too strong, more oppressive than Zeno and his 2 guards. Daishinkan-sama. I didn't know you were coming here. Please forgive me for not receiving you properly, Beerus said, immediately falling to his knees. Whis did the same. The Grand Priest wasn't just the Grand Priest. He was Whiss's father. Whiss's respect for the Grand Priest even surpassed that of Zeno. Who is he? Goku asked, puzzled, why are Beerus-sama and Whis treating him with such respect? Goku and the others looked puzzled. I didn't expect the mighty Hakuheian and Angel to act like that after seeing the small man. Beerus was already shivering with fright. Anna did not answer their questions. At this time, the Grand Priest spoke. Long time no see, Whis and Hakuheian from the 7th universe, the Grand Priest said with a warm smile, making him seem harmless. Daishinkan, why have I never heard of this name before? He looks very powerful. Goku said excitedly. This world is really getting more and more exciting, with more and more powerful people constantly appearing. Beerus on the side was trembling with fright after hearing Goku's excited tone. These fools simply didn't understand the power of the Grand Priest. Like Zeno, he also had the ability to destroy a universe in an instant.
Daishinkan-sama, do you have any orders for coming to the 7th universe this time?
Whis raised his head and asked in a respectful tone. Yes, I'm here to inform you about the exhibition match by order of Zeno-sama. The Grand Priest nodded, his tone and demeanor still very warm. Exhibition match? Beerus was confused. Wasn't it a tournament between all universes? How did it become an exhibition match? To put it simply, the rules for the Tournament of Power between all universes have not yet been formulated, and Zeno-sama wants to see the competition as soon as possible. So, we decided to hold an exhibition match first. Through this match, we can also formulate a format for the tournament among the entire multiverse. The Grand Priest explained. This time there are a total of 2 universes participating in the exhibition match, the 9th universe and the 7th universe, which have the lowest comprehensive mortal levels. Before I came, Zeno-sama requested something. Among the participants from the 7th universe, Mr. must be included, the Grand Priest said, looking at Goten. Okay, Daishinkan-sama, we will participate. Beerus immediately replied, respectfully. It seemed that Zeno had not forgotten Goten. Fortunately, Goten was respectful when he talked to Zeno, unlike Goku, who was more carefree, so there shouldn't be any trouble. Well, I'll trouble everyone then. The exhibition competition will be held after 50 tacks, which is 1 day in Earth's time. There will only be 3 contestants from each universe. Please come to Zeno-sama's temple, half an hour in advance, the Grand Priest continued. Okay, Daishinkan-sama, Beerus nodded respectfully again. Zeno's temple was his least favorite place to go. Every time he went, he felt it was very dangerous. If he said something wrong, he might be eliminated instantly. Going to Zeno's temple felt like walking through the gate of hell. But now, he dared not disobey the orders given by Zeno and the Grand Priest. In that case, I will visit the other universes first and deliver the news to the Hakuheian in those universes. Farewell, everyone. After the Grand Priest finished speaking, he turned around and disappeared into the Void Rift. Farewell, Daishinkan-sama. Beerus and Whis bowed their heads very respectfully. In a moment, the purple void cracks completely disappeared. After seeing the Grand Priest vanish entirely, Beerus stood up and wiped the sweat from his brow one last time. Every time he saw Zeno and the Grand Priest, he always felt terrified. He couldn't overcome this fear by himself. Perhaps this was the oppressive force from a higher being. Damn it. When did our 7th universe become the second to last in mortal comprehensive level? How did I never know about this? Beerus glanced at Whis and asked, Haha, actually, this is very normal. Beerus-sama. Besides eating and sleeping, you have never paid attention to the things in the universe. All the destruction you do is out of interest. You never observed the value and necessity of the planets you destroyed. There are many planets with relatively high mortal comprehensive standards that you have destroyed long ago. So, we're now ranked second to last among the 12 universes. This is a normal outcome, Whis smiled and explained. He had also tried persuading Beerus before, advising that before exercising his right as Hakashin, it was best to first observe whether the planet to be destroyed had value. But Beerus never paid attention to such things. If he was in a bad mood, he would destroy planets indiscriminately. This led to the unknowing destruction of many advanced civilization planets in the 7th universe. I have never done such a thing, so stop accusing me. Beerus said roguishly to Whis, it must be you who secretly destroyed the high-level planets of the 7th universe while I was sleeping. Could you be a spy sent by another universe? Beerus knew very well that Whis was telling the truth. Beerus-sama, you have to touch your conscience when you say this, Whis replied, rolling his eyes. Isn't this guy too casual in throwing accusations? Heh. It's okay to be surpassed by other universes. But Champa's 6th universe and Quitela's 4th universe also surpassed our 7th universe, Beerus said, unconvinced. In the last match against the 6th universe, they won easily. Unexpectedly, in the comprehensive ranking of universes, they were behind the 6th universe. What's more, even Quitela's universe, that yellow-haired rat, was ranked higher than theirs. This was infuriating. Of course, Beerus-sama, if you have any objections, you can discuss them with Daishinkan-sama or Zeno-sama. Whis nodded, looking at Beerus seriously. After hearing these two names, Beerus shrank his neck in fright. He would not dare to do such a thing. Even if his universe was considered to be the last one, he wouldn't dare to go to them. At this time, the others began discussing. I really can't believe that our 7th universe is actually the second to last among the 12 universes. Krillin said, it seems that winning this time in the Tournament of Power won't be easy. They thought they were all powerful now, but in this vast universe there was always someone stronger. Although they felt very powerful, who could guarantee that there were no real powerhouses in other universes? For example, in the 6th universe, Saiyan KL and Assassin Hit had outrageous strength. In other universes, there might be even more powerful beings. Yes! Seems that winning the final victory in the Tournament of Power is indeed not as easy as we imagined. Trunks nodded seriously. Piccolo and Gohan's brows furrowed even deeper. They knew Trunks' strength surpassed theirs by a lot. If even Trunks and the others couldn't handle their opponents, then they definitely had no advantage at all. At this time, Beerus turned to look at Goten and spoke very seriously. Goten, you heard what Daishinkan-sama said. Zeno-sama specifically requested your presence at the exhibition match in Zeno-sama's temple. I think you understand how powerful Zeno-sama is, and you are smart enough to know what to say and what not to say, even without my reminder. I got it. Goten nodded. Even without Beerus' reminder, he knew what to do. The consequences of saying the wrong thing in front of Zeno and the Grand Priest were too severe to bear. Okay, the exhibition competition requires only 3 contestants. Let's discuss who else besides you should participate. Beerus continued, since they were facing the 9th universe, which ranked last in overall strength, there shouldn't be any problems. With the strength of Goten and Trunks, they should be able to defeat the 9th universe. This exhibition match was nothing to worry about. The real concern was the Tournament of Power, where all universes would participate. He didn't know if there would be more powerful mortals. After all, they were ranked second to last now. Maybe the top 3 universes had fighters who surpassed the Hakashin. Hearing what Beerus said, Goten looked at Goku and Krillin and asked, who among you wants to go with me to meet the fighters of the 9th universe? But remember, once we're at Zeno-sama's temple, don't talk nonsense. Saying the wrong thing in front of Zeno-sama and Daishinkan-sama could lead to the destruction of our 7th universe. Goten was most worried about Goku. Others were fine. Although Vegeta was arrogant at times, he knew how to restrain himself. Goku, however, had a carefree character that was sometimes too much. His words were often too direct. In Dragon Ball, if it weren't for plot armor, he would have been wiped out by Zeno long ago. I won't go to that kind of place. Kakarot, you're not going either, Vegeta said proudly. The reason was simple. His recent match against Trunks showed him how far behind he was in strength. He needed to race against time to improve his own strength, at least not be weaker than Trunks. Otherwise, even if he participated in the Tournament of Power, he would likely be defeated quickly. Ah, why Vegeta? I still want to meet other powerful contestants from the universe, Goku asked, puzzled. Didn't they train hard to see the strength of other universe powerhouses? Now was a great opportunity, and he didn't expect Vegeta to refuse. Gee, although I don't want to admit it, our strength simply cannot defeat Trunks. So even if you go, you may not be able to win the match. Let's use this time to train well here. Vegeta gritted his teeth and said to Goku, they couldn't even beat Trunks now, so participating in the power tournament wouldn't have much effect. The most important thing was to quickly improve their strength and strive for dazzling results in the all-universe tournament. It seems reasonable, Goku agreed. Compared to Goten and Trunks, our current strength is indeed much weaker. I'll listen to you this time, Vegeta. We'll stay on Beerus-sama's planet and continue training. Gohan and Piccolo also chose to stay and continue training, especially Piccolo, who knew he was the weakest of the group. Young Trunks also decided not to go, as his strength was only slightly stronger than Piccolo's. Since this is the case, I will also stay here with Father and continue training, Gohan said. Me too, Piccolo added. Well, since that's the case, Trunks, Krillin, the three of us will go. Goten said to Trunks and Krillin, in terms of strength, Krillin was not weaker than Goku and Vegeta. It was more than enough to deal with the 9th universe. After all, the strongest fighters in the 9th universe were just the 3 Huskies who called themselves the Trio of Danger, and their strength was far from reaching the level of Super Saiyan God. Since it's decided, that's good. Everyone, let's take a good rest today. After arriving at Zeno-sama's temple tomorrow, the 3 of you must perform well. You must never lose to the 9th universe, Beerus instructed Goten and the others. Don't worry, we won't lose, Goten said confidently. With his current strength, even facing Jiren from the 11th universe, he was not afraid. He was 90% sure he could beat Jiren unless something unexpected happened. The day passed quickly. At 10 o'clock the next morning, everyone was ready. Shin and Kibito also rushed over. Okay, let's go now. Remember, as I reminded before, try to talk as little as possible after arriving at Zeno-sama's temple. Beerus warned everyone again. Sometimes even a wrong sentence could lead to the destruction of a universe. This was truly scary. Understood, Beerus-sama. Trunks and Krillin nodded immediately. Then please hold on to me. We will go there right away, Shin said. Everyone formed a circle, and in a flash, they disappeared from the Hawkeishin realm. When they reappeared, they saw a large and gaudy word, Zeno. It was pitch black all around, looking like it was in a universe of nothingness. At the gate of the Zeno's temple, the Grand Priest stood waiting for them. With his hands behind his back, still wearing a harmless smile, the Grand Priest saw Goten and Beerus and smiled. Everyone is right on time. Come inside, Zeno-sama has been waiting for a long time. He turned and led the way. Is this the temple of Zeno? Krillin and Trunks thought to themselves. It really seemed to fit Zeno-sama's aesthetics. However, they dared not say such words directly. Beerus-sama had instructed them to speak as little as possible. It was best not to talk at all if they could help it. In the corridor, everyone walked for a full 3 minutes before finally arriving inside Zeno's temple. At this time, Zeno was bored, playing with marbles. The marbles he played with were actually planets. Whenever 2 marbles collided, it meant that 2 planets would disappear from existence. Zeno-sama, the 7th universe participants are here, the Grand Priest said respectfully to Zeno. Ah, Goten. It's great to see you again. Long time no see. I missed you so much, Zeno exclaimed. After Zeno turned his head, he directly ignored Beerus and Whis. Then he walked in front of Goten with a childlike, innocent smile on his face. Haha, I missed Zeno-sama too. Goten could only smile awkwardly and respond. Of course, this was a completely perfunctory answer. He didn't want to interact with the little guy in front of him. He knew that every second he spent with Zeno was fraught with danger. But in this situation, what else could he say? The Grand Priest noticed the awkwardness on Goten's face. He smiled lightly, walked over to Whis, and said, Your Goten from the 7th universe is quite interesting. I never thought Zeno-sama would like a mortal so much. Zeno hadn't been interested in a mortal for a long time. It seemed that Goten and Zeno got along quite well. Yes, Daishinkan-sama. Goten's personality is very good, and he also has amazing fighting talent. Whis replied respectfully. Although the Grand Priest was his father, there was still a need to maintain decorum in such a solemn place as Zeno's temple. They couldn't act as father and son here. Well, I can see it. He does have very strong combat power. It seems that this combat power is not weaker than a Hake-Yashin. Looking at your appearance, you should be training him as the next Hake-Yashin. The Grand Priest continued with a laugh. As an existence at the ceiling level of combat power in this universe, he could naturally feel the difference in Goten. Although the guys he saw in the 7th universe yesterday were all extraordinary among mortals, they should all be called the best. But compared to Goten, there was a huge gap. Yes, for now, Beerus and I do have such a plan. It's just that the future is a little hard to predict. Goten doesn't seem to have much interest in the position of Hake-Yashin, Whis nodded and continued. Goten had the chance to become the 7th universe Hake-Yashin last time, but he turned it down. Based on what he knew about Goten, he didn't seem to have much interest in the position of Hake-Yashin. Maybe he had bigger ambitions. Given his fighting talent, if he had thousands of years of training, his strength could definitely surpass the level of an angel. At that time, the status of a mere Hakashin would indeed be unsatisfying for him. Oh? Is that so? It sounds interesting, and worth keeping an eye on, the Grand Priest said before walking aside. After Zeno and Goten had a brief chat, Hake-Yashin, angels, and Kei-Yushin from other universes started arriving one after another. Although this time the exhibition match was only between the 9th universe and the 7th universe, the gods of other universes were also invited. All the rules and precautions for the Tournament of Power would be formulated today, so the gods from other universes were required to participate. Time passed, minute by minute. 10 minutes later, all the gods of the universe had arrived. On the side of the 9th universe, besides the Hakishin, Kaioshin, and Angel, those 3 Huskies were indeed among them. They were the 3 most powerful beings in the 9th universe, so it was expected for them to participate in this exhibition match. Dash and Kane, all the Hake-Shin have arrived. Let's start the game now. I can't wait. Zeno said impatiently, seeing that all the gods of the universe had arrived. Okay, that is the main purpose, the Grand Priest nodded. He shook his right hand and the angel staff appeared. With a light tap on the ground, the huge temple of Zeno instantly transformed into a massive martial arts tournament venue. In the middle was a suspended ring, surrounded by 13 audience stands. Zeno and the Grand Priest stood at the easternmost position, while the gods of other universes appeared in their respective audience stands. A match between the 9th universe and the 7th universe. Let's see, Hake-Yashin Belmod of the 11th universe whispered, Beerus' 7th universe has a low, comprehensive level of mortals. Belmod, a diligent Hake-Yashin, had a thorough understanding of these things. The 2 universes participating in the exhibition match were the ones with the weakest comprehensive mortal strength. My lord, don't be negligent. I feel that the mortals in the 7th universe seem quite good. They might not be that weak, Angel Margarita corrected. Although she couldn't accurately gauge the real power of the 7th universe contestants, she sensed they were not so simple. In contrast, the 3 warriors of the 9th universe didn't seem special. Oh, is that so? Belmod replied. Since you say that, it seems worth paying attention to. He quickly put away his contempt, knowing that Margarita's opinion was valuable. According to the Grand Priest, there would be a tournament of power involving all universes after this round. It was essential to take a good look at the competition's strength. Toppo, take a good look at the 7th universe's mortals' power. It might be useful during the Tournament of Power, Belmod instructed Toppo, who was wearing a black cloak beside him. Yes, Belmod-sama, Toppo nodded quickly. All the Hakashin started whispering. I heard that Zeno-sama held his Tournament of Power because the 6th universe and the 7th universe had a private match. That's right, that's why. In that case, the 2 brothers Champa and Beerus are really troublemakers. Who's to say otherwise? That bastard Beerus almost got us killed in that hide-and-seek game with Zeno-sama millions of years ago. Soon, the blame was directed at the 6th and 7th universes. If it weren't for Beerus and Champa, Zeno-sama wouldn't have held such a sudden competition. They were more worried about severe punishment if they lost the game. Okay, everyone, please enjoy the whole exhibition. The rules of the match are simple. The 3 contestants from the 9th universe will fight against the 3 contestants from the 7th universe. The key to determining the outcome is to send your opponent out of the ring, the Grand Priest announced, and the whispers fell silent. Everyone turned their attention to the 7th and 9th universes. The Grand Priest didn't formulate detailed rules for the Tournament of Power yet, because he wanted to determine them based on this exhibition match. Too many rules now might affect his judgment and subsequent decisions. Now please send a participant from each side for the first match. The Grand Priest's voice sounded again. Sidra-sama, let me compete in this first match. Looking at those guys from the 7th universe, they seem to be nothing special. I will win the match right away. The youngest of the dangerous trio, Basil, volunteered confidently. He had observed the 3 contestants from the 7th universe, and felt he could eliminate them easily. Okay, then you go. Hikashi and Sidra nodded. Basil, don't be too careless. To be able to become a top participant in the universe and appear in a sacred place like Zeno's temple, their strength is absolutely not weak. Angel Moshito kindly reminded the pompous and confident Basil. After all, to participate in this competition, those 3 must be the most powerful mortals in their universe. If he were to be careless, there would be no good results. Yes, I see. Basil nodded quickly. Although he behaved politely, his expression was still arrogant. Whoosh! Basil's body flashed and appeared directly in the ring. On the side of the 7th universe, Beerus asked, you 3, who will get rid of that husky? Beerus-sama, Goten, let me do this first battle. That guy's strength is too weak. I can easily defeat him. Krillin stepped forward and spoke to Beerus and Goten. Okay, then you go. Krillin. Goten nodded immediately. The strength of the 3 brothers in the 9th universe was ridiculously weak. Regardless of the order in which they played, the final result would not change. Krillin appeared in the ring, opposite Basil. Is the game about to start? I'm looking forward to it. Zeno looked excited. After waiting for so long, the match was finally about to start. Then let the match begin, the Grand Priest's voice sounded. In the arena, Basil smirked and said to Krillin, he. Baldy, I didn't expect my opponent to be you. It really disappoints me. Next, I will eliminate you in an instant and show you the strength of our 9th universe. Krillin didn't reply. He knew there was no point in talking to this kind of opponent. Are you too scared to speak? Then let me finish this early. Seeing Krillin's silence, Basil became even more ecstatic. He jumped up, gathering energy at his toes, forming a light yellow glow, and kicked at Krillin. Basil's strongest attacks were with his legs and feet. Too slow, Krillin shook his head in disappointment. He jumped up, not giving Basil a chance to react, and punched Basil hard on the cheek. Oh! With a low crashing sound, Basil's body was blown out of the ring with a single punch. Zeno blinked his big eyes with a dazed expression. What's this? Is it over? The Hake-shin of the other universes looked at each other in confusion. Could it be that the gap between mortal levels was actually so large, the battle had not even lasted a second, and it was over? Margarita, it seems that what you said was right. That bald guy from the 7th universe, his speed just now was ridiculously fast. There's no doubt that even Toppo's speed may not reach that level. It seems the 7th universe cannot be underestimated at all. Belmod said seriously, Oops, the gap between the contestants from the 2 universes seems too big, the Grand Priest said in surprise. The battle was resolved in an instant. Then let's start the second match. The Grand Priest's voice rang out. Trunks' body flashed and appeared in the ring. His opponent was the poisonous Lavender from the 9th universe. Lavender was very weak, even weaker than Basil, but he was insidious and cunning, best at using poison to incapacitate his opponents. Trunks, being a decisive fighter, would never give his opponent any chance to attack. Especially against such a weak opponent, Trunks would never underestimate them. As soon as he transformed into Super Saiyan 4, Trunks defeated Lavender with one punch. This scene left all the Hakusen dumbfounded. The power Trunks displayed felt stronger than some gods. Gotta be kidding! The mortal from the 7th universe just now, at the moment when his form changed, his strength actually reached that level. It feels stronger than some gods. Are these guys really just mortals? Howlis, Hakusen from Universe 2, said in disbelief. The bald man was strong enough, but the handsome boy, Trunks, was even stronger. The aura he released when defeating Lavender was incredibly powerful. He was definitely a top existence among mortals. In the second universe, there had never been such a powerful mortal warrior. Bastard Beerus, when did you train such a powerful mortal? Did you know Zeno-sama would hold an all-universe tournament and started training mortal warriors in advance? Hakashaning Quaital of the fourth universe said angrily, because he and Beerus had always been rivals, seeing the powerful mortals in Beerus's universe made him quite unhappy. At this moment, the Hakashin of all universes were whispering, amazed at Trunks' power after transforming into Super Saiyan 4. In the stands of the 11th universe, Belmod finally showed a serious expression, Toppo. Feel it. That guy from the 7th universe released an extremely powerful ki just now. Although this power was definitely not comparable to Jiren's, it was still outrageous for a mortal to reach this level. He was definitely trained by an angel. Yes, Belmod-sama, that power was very strong. Ashamed to say, if I do not transform into Hakishin form, I might not be his opponent, Toppo said solemnly. It seemed the 7th universe was not as weak as they imagined. If Trunks was the second to fight, the one who didn't fight might be the strongest. The real strong always stayed until the end, just like Jiren from their 11th universe. It seems that I really underestimated the 7th universe and its mortals before. I didn't expect the mortals in their universe to reach this level. It's incredible, Belmod said, with a gloomy face. It seems that for this competition, we will need to call Jiren back, no matter what. If Jiren doesn't participate, with just Toppo and Daspo, we might really not be able to beat the 7th universe, he continued. I just wonder if Jiren will participate in such a competition. From what I know about him, he should not be willing to participate, Toppo spoke from the side. Jiren didn't have contact with any of them. He had the justice in his heart and wanted to rid the universe of all evil alone. Even if Belmod went out in person, he might not be able to convince Jiren. Relax. I know what's on Jiren's mind, so I'm sure I can convince him. Belmod showed an inscrutable smile. At this time, the Grand Priest's voice sounded again, announcing the result of the match. The second match was won by Trunks from the 7th universe. Speaking of which, is this the only mortal level in your 9th universe? It seems a bit too weak, the Grand Priest said lightly, glancing at the 9th universe. Unexpectedly, the two matches were resolved in just 1 second with decisive victories. It seemed that even if they participated in the Tournament of Power, the 9th universe would be eliminated soon. This way, the title of the 9th universe as the last one was well deserved. The Grand Priest's comments scared Heikeishin Sidra and Kaioshin Ro from the 9th universe, making them tremble. Their expressions were also very dignified. Originally, they thought the dangerous trio of their 9th universe were very strong, but now it seemed the strength gap between them and the 7th universe was too great. Although the boss of the dangerous trio, Bergamo, was very strong compared to those from the 7th universe, he seemed insignificant. Now they could only pin all their hopes on the third match. Bergamo, you must win this match. If we lose all 3 matches, we will most likely be punished by Zeno-sama and Daishinkan-sama, Sidra said to Bergamo firmly. This was really embarrassing. In front of many gods, their universe lost so unbearably. In a real match, it was very likely that they would be eliminated first. Yes, Sidra-sama, I will do my best. Bergamo nodded firmly. Meanwhile, Lavender and Basil looked ashamed. Initially, they were confident, with Basil even claiming he could eliminate the 3 contestants from the 7th universe by himself. They didn't expect to be so vulnerable. Whoosh! In the next second, Bergamo's body appeared in the ring, and Goten appeared opposite him almost simultaneously. Boy, I have to say that your 7th universe is really strong, and you managed to eliminate my 2 younger brothers, but in this match, you have absolutely no chance of winning. Bergamo said confidently to Goten his strength was much greater than his 2 younger brothers, and he had a hidden skill. By absorbing his opponent's strength, his body could enlarge, and his power would increase rapidly. As long as the opponent couldn't defeat him in one fell swoop, he could grow stronger. Don't be too confident. I think your 2 brothers had the same idea, but their endings were not ideal. Goten smiled faintly. He knew Bergamo had special abilities to turn other people's attacks into his own power, but once the strength of the attack exceeded what he could bear, his ability would be ineffective. Bergamo gritted his teeth tightly. It seemed he had to deal with this guy. Along the way, he had to challenge those 2 guys from earlier. Only then could they regain the pride of the 9th universe. If both of you are ready, then let's get started. The Grand Priest's voice sounded again as he looked at the two fighters in the field. Wake up, brat. You won't be as careless as my two younger brothers. I will completely defeat you in an instant. Bergamo roared angrily, then rushed forward like a husky. As he leaped high, golden light was released from his fists, concentrating all his strength on them. He carried all the hopes of the ninth universe, so he couldn't afford any carelessness. Come on, bro! Come on, Bergamo! Cheered the people from the ninth universe, seeing such a ferocious Bergamo. In comparison, everyone in the seventh universe remained much calmer. They all knew Goten's strength. The guys from the ninth universe couldn't even beat Krillin and Trunks, so how could they be Goten's opponents? This was a completely different level of battle. Get the hell out of here, bastard at the seventh universe. Bergamo roared, his fists striking at Goten like lightning. Goten turned his body slightly, easily dodging Bergamo's attack. Oh, dead. Bergamo wasn't discouraged. After the first attack missed, he launched another storm of attacks, but his speed was too slow. Goten only needed to move slightly to avoid all the attacks. Damn it! Why are the seventh universe warriors so fast? I've used my speed to the extreme, but I can't touch him at all. And this guy didn't even attack, so I can't absorb his energy to become stronger, Bergamo thought as his attacks continued to fail. After dozens of unsuccessful attacks, Bergamo's expression became more and more serious. If this continued, he would face stamina problems, making it impossible to defeat the seventh universe's fighters. As Bergamo quickly thought about how to defeat Goten, Goten's slightly lazy voice sounded, "Have you played enough? To be honest, your strength is as bad as your two younger brothers. It's a fool's dream to want to defeat me with this little power. Let me show you the gap between us." Goten had avoided attacking earlier because he didn't want to end the matches too quickly, fearing it would displease Zeno. But the ninth universe fighters were too weak and he couldn't hold back any longer. What? Bergamo's expression changed instantly. In that moment of doubt, Goten's body was already in front of him, and his clenched fist landed on Bergamo's lower abdomen. Boom! A mouthful of blood sprayed from Bergamo's mouth as he flew towards the stands of the ninth universe like a fired shell. His body hit the stands heavily, and he lost consciousness. What? Defeated in an instant again? Are the mortals from the seventh universe monsters? The Hakushin of the other universes looked at each other in disbelief. It's unbelievable. They're ranked as second to last universe, but these guys show such great power. Even though our second universe is ranked higher, our mortals absolutely cannot reach this level, remarked Hellas, Hakushin from the second universe. After seeing Goten easily defeat Bergamo, all the Hakushin began to whisper again, filled with surprise and disbelief. The power displayed by those three fighters from the seventh universe didn't match their low ranking. Whew! Another instant defeat? This match is a bit boring, the Grand Priest sighed, looking at Bergamo, who had been punched unconscious. He had expected the two universes, with similar overall mortal comprehension levels, to bring exciting battles. But he didn't expect all three matches to end so decisively. Since he hadn't enjoyed watching it, Zeno likely hadn't either. Sure enough, just after the Grand Priest's voice fell, Zeno's voice sounded, "Hey, is this all over? But I didn't see anything just now. And I haven't watched it at all. Day Shinkan, what happened? Has the ninth universe been defeated?" Zeno looked at the Grand Priest with a confused expression, realizing the three small battles were already over. This kind of competition clearly couldn't satisfy his boredom. Yes, Zeno-sama. Although the progress of the game was relatively fast, it is indeed over. The three contestants from the seventh universe have all won, and they defeated their opponents in an instant. The Grand Priest nodded respectfully and replied, Is the overall strength of the ninth universe so weak? Such a weak universe, is there a need for it to exist at all? Zeno said with some displeasure. He had wanted to watch an exciting battle, but didn't expect it to end so soon. The ninth universe was so weak, it seemed there was really no need for them to exist, and it was troublesome to manage. Zeno-sama, the overall strength of the ninth universe is indeed very weak, but if the ninth universe is erased now, there will be less fun in the Tournament of Power. Why don't we follow our previous plan and punish the losing universe after the Tournament of Power is over? The Grand Priest suggested quickly, trying to dissuade him. This was just an overview before the official match. It was just an exhibition. If the ninth universe was erased because of this, it would be unfair. Everyone in the ninth universe after hearing the conversation between Zeno and the Grand Priest, were trembling with fear. Unexpectedly, with just one game, Zeno-sama would consider wiping them out. Okay, in that case, I will listen to you, Daishinkan. But I didn't enjoy watching it at all just now, Zeno said, still a little unhappy. The game had ended too quickly, and he didn't realize what had happened. There was no fun in this kind of competition. Zeno-sama, since you haven't enjoyed watching it, why don't we have another game? This time, let the Hakushin of the 12 universes fight. The gap in strength between the Hakushin shouldn't be too big, and the battle won't end so soon. More importantly, this match can be used to examine how the strength of each universe's Hakushin is progressing, the Grand Priest suggested. Now, if they continue to let mortals compete, the gods would have to go to other planets to find some mortals to compete. By the time they found them, there might still be a significant gap in strength, and Zeno would not enjoy watching it much. It was better to have a fight between the Hakushin of the 12 universes. The power gap between Hakushin would not be so obvious, and the battle would definitely last longer, making it more enjoyable for Zeno to watch. Okay. Daishinkan, you are so smart to come up with such a good idea. In this case, let's hold another match between the Hakushin as you suggested. Zeno nodded immediately, agreeing to the Grand Priest's proposal. It was just in time to see how the 12 universes Hakushin had progressed over the years. What? Are you kidding me? Isn't this a match between the 9th universe and the 7th universe? Why did it become a match between the Hakushin? Champa's face changed suddenly upon hearing the conversation between Zeno and the Grand Priest. The reason was simple, because private battles between gods had been banned for millions of years. He hadn't had good training, causing his body to be seriously out of shape. His strength and physical fitness had declined significantly. Competing with those like Beerus now was obviously impossible. He estimated that he might be eliminated soon, and the result of elimination could be severe punishment or even erasure. A battle between all the universes Hakushin. This way I can finally have a good fight with that guy Beerus. This time I have to defeat him with my own hands. Quaitro looked excited, looking at Beerus with provocative eyes. He had an arm wrestling match with Beerus long ago and won, but because Hakushin were not allowed to fight privately, they never decided the true outcome of who was stronger. With the acquiescence of Zeno and the Grand Priest, he could finally defeat Beerus legitimately. Garbage rat. Don't think you can get carried away just because you won the arm wrestling last time. In a real battle, I will easily knock you down. Beerus retaliated, seeing Quaitla's provocative gaze. Fighting wasn't only about strength, but also about fighting skills. He was extremely confident in his fighting skills, especially among the 12 Hakushin, only he had mastered Ultra Instinct, which was a great advantage. The other Hakushin were less enthusiastic about fighting each other. If they lost, they might face serious punishment. Many knew their strength wasn't as good as Beerus and Quaitla's. As the Hakushin contemplated, the Grand Priest's voice sounded again. Hakushin of various universes, you should have heard what Zeno-sama and I said. Zeno-sama didn't enjoy the previous competition, so next there will be a competition between the Hakushin. Please be sure to show all your strength in the certified battle, because if you lose, you may face very severe punishment. Yes! If you don't show your strength and fight hard, you may be wiped out by me. So, fight with all your might. Although Zeno's tone was cute, it made all the Hakushin present tremble in fright. They knew Zeno's tone sounded like a joke, but they couldn't take it as one. If they did, they would definitely pay the price in blood. Yes, Zeno-sama, we understand. All the Hakushin bowed their heads in unison and answered seriously. They did not dare to slack off. He weaker Hakushin were even more frightened and trembling, including Champa. His strength had never been very strong, and he hadn't trained at all in the past 100 years. He spent his days looking for delicious food, so his body was seriously out of shape. Sometimes he got out of breath after walking for a while. Then all the Hakushin gather in the arena. The Grand Priest's voice sounded again. Immediately, all the Hakushin jumped and landed steadily around the ring. Huh? Only 12 of them will participate in the match? It seems a bit boring. Can Goten participate? His strength is also very strong. I really want to see him fight with the Hakushin. Zeno looked at the 12 Hakushin in the ring, and then said, with some dissatisfaction. Since the last match between the 6th universe and the 7th universe, he knew that Goten's strength was not weaker than a Hakushin at all. And this time, Goten seemed even stronger. If he could fight with the Hakushin, the match would be more interesting. Mr. Goten of the 7th universe, but he's just immortal. To participate in the battle of Hakushin is not suitable for him. Zeno-sama, the Grand Priest asked with some doubts. Although he knew that Goten from the 7th universe had good strength and Whis spoke highly of him, there should still be a big gap between him and a true Hakushin. But I'd love to see it, Zeno insisted. If it was just the Hakushin fighting, the battle would be less interesting. If Goten could also participate, this battle would definitely be quite exciting. Alright, Zeno-sama, since you said so, then Mr. Goten, you also join the Battle of Hakushin. Seeing that Zeno was so determined, the Grand Priest could only nod and relay the orders to Goten. Goten froze for a moment, surprised that Zeno would let him participate in the match between Hakushin, but Goten knew his current power was no worse than a Hakushin. Even if he participated in this battle, he should be able to achieve good results. He was not afraid of all the Hakushin. The only powerful thing about Hakushin was their destruction ability, and now that he also possessed such a skill, he was not threatened by them. Okay, since Zeno-sama wants to watch it so much, then I'll participate. After a moment of surprise, Goten accepted. There was no other way. It would be obviously very foolish to disobey Zeno's orders. Are you kidding? Zeno-sama actually let a mortal from the 7th universe compete with us, Hakushin. This simply ignores our dignity as Hakushin. No matter how powerful a mortal is, he is always an ant in the eyes of us. Hakushin. Does Zeno-sama really think that with this guy's outstanding performance just now, he has the qualification to compete with Hakushin? Quayla frowned and whispered. He didn't care about Goat. Mortals would always be mortals, and there was a world of difference between them and a Hakushin. The Battle of the Hakushin was not something a mortal was qualified to participate in. It seems that Zeno-sama really likes that mortal from the 7th universe. I don't know what kind of methods that guy used to get in his good graces. Belmod said with a look of disdain. Although that guy might have the strength to surpass Toppo, Toppo was just a candidate Hakushin, and there was still an irreparable gap between him and a real Hakushin. That mortal from the 7th universe, last time, it was because of his existence that our 6th universe lost embarrassingly. Let me deal with him this time. Since I can't beat other gods, can I beat him? Champa also focused all his attention on Goten at this time. Although Goten had a very strong strength when he defeated Hit last time, that kind of strength was still unable to compare with a Hakushin. Although Champa's strength had declined a lot due to lack of training and overeating, he was still confident that he could handle Goten. A bunch of stupid guys. How dare you despise Goten so much? It seems that you will soon pay a heavy price for your stupidity and ignorance. Beerus thought to himself as he saw the disdainful expressions of the other gods. He knew Goten's strength better than anyone. To be honest, even he might not be able to beat Goten now, let alone those guys from other universes. Whoosh! At that moment, Goten leaped and appeared in the ring, standing just 2 meters away from Beerus. God, be careful later. I've seen some guys who don't look kindly at either of us. Beerus glanced at Goten and reminded him, Beerus, you didn't have a good relationship with them before. But this shouldn't be a reason for them to vent their anger on me. But if they're really that stupid, I don't mind giving them a good beating. Goten smiled and said with a relaxed face, he was not afraid of these gods. My relationship with them has never been good. However, your involvement as a mortal in the battle against them makes them quite uncomfortable. Beerus nodded and said, a mortal participating in the battle between gods might be seen as a humiliation for those self-righteous guys. Yeah? If it's uncomfortable for them now, they might be even more uncomfortable later. Goten still looked very relaxed. If they were itching for a beating, he could only oblige. Okay, everyone, I think everyone is almost ready. Then please begin. The rules are the same. You will be eliminated from the round if you lose consciousness or are kicked out of the ring, the Grand Priest announced. Zeno looked excited. He hoped this match wouldn't end as quickly as the previous one. Otherwise, it would be too boring. On the stands of the 7th universe, Trunks clenched his fists tightly and said excitedly, Great! The battle among the Hakushin, I can finally see Goten's true strength. Ever since he knew Goten, he had never seen Goten go all out in battle. Maybe today's battle with the gods would allow him to see that. Those gods look very powerful individually. I don't know if Goten can defeat them, Krillin said with some concern. He had seen the true power of Beerus before, which was absolutely indescribable. The strength of gods from other universes must not be underestimated, even though Goten's current strength was not what it used to be. Defeating Hakugishin was probably not easy. Please don't worry, Krillin. The power that Goten possesses now is not weaker than a Hakushin. If they want to defeat Goten, their only chance is to fight together. However, the practice of joining forces to deal with a mortal being may feel like a humiliation to those proud Hakushin, and they likely won't do that, Whis said calmly. After seeing Goten this time, he felt that Goten's strength had improved dramatically. There was no doubt that his current strength was definitely not weaker than Beerus's. Beerus was the most powerful existence among the gods. If other gods wanted to defeat Goten, it would be very difficult unless several gods joined forces. In the arena, all the gods were in no rush to start the fight. Hey, Kwaitala, that guy Beerus is not easy to deal with. Let's work together to eliminate Beerus first. It's time to decide the final outcome, Belmod suggested to Kwaita. If it were just an ordinary match, he would hope to fight Beerus fairly. But now, if they lost, they didn't know what kind of punishment they would face. This matter was not to be taken lightly. Although they hated Beerus, they had to admit that he was very strong. It was very difficult to defeat him alone. They could only join forces to eliminate Beerus first, and then decide the winner among themselves. I agree. I don't like that bastard Beerus. Rumshi immediately nodded in agreement. The last time Beerus killed the candidate Kaioshin in the 10th universe, now it was just right to vent his anger. I agree. Sidra also nodded immediately. His reasoning was simple. Those mortals from the 7th universe had defeated their 9th universe in a devastating manner, making him lose face as Hakushin. More importantly, he was almost wiped out by Zeno. Naturally, he held Beerus responsible. Now that they were teaming up to deal with Beerus, he would not refuse. Beerus's conduct was indeed not beautiful. Count me in this alliance of yours. Hell has also opted in. Several other gods from various universes nodded in agreement. Clearly they had old feuds with Beerus. At this time, in the stands of the 7th universe, both Krillin and Trunks looked at Whis, dumbfounded. Whis, what is going on? It seems that the gods from other universes are going to besiege Beerus-sama. Does Beerus-sama have a bad relationship with every other universe's Hakushin? Krillin asked, concerned. Yes, the relationship between Beerus-sama and the other universe's Hakushin is indeed not good. Tens of thousands of years ago, Zeno-sama once held a hide-and-seek tournament among all Hakushin, and Beerus-sama dozed off during the competition for 50 years, resulting in the tournament being cancelled. This caused everyone to be almost erased along with their entire universe by Zeno-sama, and the other Hakushin had to calm him down. It was then that Beerus-sama formed a grudge with everyone. Whis nodded and explained. But this is only one of the reasons. Another important reason was that Beerus was stronger than everyone else. They knew very well that if they fought alone, Beerus had the greatest hope of persevering until the end. So, defeating the most powerful one first, and then fighting among themselves was the best strategy. In the arena, Belmod looked at Champa and asked, Hey Champa, what do you say? Beerus is your brother anyway. If you don't plan to join forces with us, we can only eliminate you two first. Hey! Useless trash, like you always likes to form gangs. Let me tell you now, even if you trash gang up on me, I will take care of you. Beerus clenched his fists, a sneer on his face, ready to fight. Even if the 11 Hakushin teamed up, he wouldn't panic at all. Are you still so stubborn? As expected of Beerus, Belmod snorted coldly. He then looked at Champa and asked, Champa, what do you think? Will you join our alliance to fight against Beerus, or join Beerus and be defeated by us? Champa's strength was average. If his final choice was to join forces with Beerus, it would not impact the final result. Heh, I have some issues with this mortal from the 7th universe. Let me get rid of him first, and then we will talk about it. Champa looked at the crowd and said, He didn't really want to team up with others to bully his brother. His focus was on Goten. The 6th universe's loss last time was directly related to Goten. Today was a good time to take revenge on this brat. Ah, that's good too. The other gods ignored Champa. Even the mortal being from the 7th universe had to be dealt with. Yo, I didn't expect that there would be a battle between us. Next I will take care of you, Champa revealed, a bloodthirsty grin, and said to Goten. Indeed, I didn't expect that I would have to beat you up when we met for the 2nd time. I really cannot bear it. After all, the last time I beat your 6th universe, You ran away with your tail between your legs, Goten smiled and said to Champa. Sure enough, this sentence made Champa's teeth itch instantly. A mere mortal dared to be so arrogant with him. Did he really think, after defeating Hit, he had the qualifications to challenge a Hakashin? Show him today why Hakashin is called Hakashin? On the other side, Belmod spoke to the crowd. Everyone, let's go together and defeat Beerus as soon as possible. They swarmed directly towards Beerus. Beerus grinned, showing no fear. Only the weak gathered in groups, and the strong simply disdained such shameless alliances. On the other side, Champa's body also flashed out. Then he punched Goten directly. He didn't go all out with this punch because if he eliminated this kid all at once, it would be too easy on him. Bring it on. Goten sneered and punched out as well. Boom. The moment the two fists collided, both Goten and Champa were repelled by the terrifying force and took several steps back. What this guy has reached this level without the power of transformation, Champa thought, astonished. It seems I underestimated his strength a bit too much. Champa's face instantly became serious after retreating several steps. He originally thought that the punch just now could at least knock Goten out, but he didn't expect Goten's strength to be so formidable. More importantly, he knew Goten could transform, and after transforming, his power level would undergo a qualitative change. This realization made Champa take things seriously. Whoosh! With this in mind, Champa instantly increased his strength and rushed towards Goten again, with a powerful punch. Seeing this, Goten had no choice but to raise his arms to block. Boom! The heavy punch landed on both arms, and Goten instantly felt as if he had been hit by a planet. His body began to retreat uncontrollably, his feet rubbing against the ground until he stopped at the edge of the ring. At this moment, he felt a tingling sensation in his arms. It seems that dealing with a Hakashin in a normal way is still a bit too much. If this is the case, then open your eyes wide and take a good look. How did the ant-like mortal in your eyes startles your jaws? Goten muttered to himself. Now that it had reached this level, there was no need to hide his strength. Using normal strength alone, he couldn't defeat Champa, and things weren't going too well for Beerus either. Although his strength was great, it was difficult to deal with a group of Hakashin on his own. After he dealt with Champa, he would help Beerus. In the next second, a deep roar came from Goten's throat. Boom. Boom. As his aura continued to rise, the entire arena began to shake violently. Even the 13 audience stands were affected and began to vibrate. At this moment, everyone clearly felt Goten's powerful and incomparably strong aura. No way. Is this power really coming from a mortal? It's unbelievable that a mortal has strength on the level of gods. Impossible. This is absolutely impossible. Good heavens. What kind of aura is this? The faces of the Chaos Shen in all universes became terrified. They never imagined that the power of a mortal could reach this level. It was unbelievable. No way. Is this power really the power that Goten possesses? There is no doubt that this power has far surpassed me, although I really don't want to admit it. I have to say that this guy may already have a strength not weaker than Jiren's. Toppo's eyes were as big as copper bells, filled with disbelief. Before seeing the fighters of the 7th universe, he thought that every member of their pride troopers was the ceiling of mortals in the universe. As for him, as the captain, he had the strength close to a Hakashin. But now it seemed that his previous idea was completely a frog in a well. None of these guys in the 7th universe seemed to be weaker than him. And Goten's current strength, as it erupted, was even stronger than Jiren's. In their minds, Jiren was in existence on par with a Hakashin, the real undefeated god of war. The joke is really too big, isn't it? Is this kind of power really what a universe that ranks second last in terms of comprehensive mortal level should have? Kaioshin Kai was completely frightened by this force. He had never seen such a powerful mortal. Even their Jiren from the 11th universe couldn't compare. That's right. Goten's current strength is indeed not comparable to Jiren, and in fact, it has surpassed most of the Hakashin. No wonder he is favored by Zeno-sama so much. It seems that Goten does have his own differences. Angel Margarita commented, "Sure enough, it would definitely not be ordinary people who could be favored by Zeno." To surpass a god with a mortal body was something that had never happened in the 12 universes. Although in the 11th universe, Jiren claimed to be immortal beyond Hakaheishin, he clearly lacked in a real fight against Hakaheishin. But Goten was no weaker than a Hakaheishin. The next battle would be very, very exciting. Wow. Great, Goten is going to transform. I'm not wrong at all, Daishinkan. Goten is very powerful. At this moment, feeling Goten's power and seeing the vibrant green aura spraying out around his body, Zeno jumped up from his throne in excitement, exclaiming to the Grand Priest with dancing hands and feet, "Yes! Zeno-sama! What you said is absolutely right. Goten does possess a power not weaker than that of a Hakaishin. It seems that I underestimated him a little before." The Grand Priest nodded with a smile, though a look of shock flickered in his eyes as he watched Goten, now wrapped in vibrant green aura flames. It was truly unbelievable that a mortal from the 7th universe could become so strong. As he looked at the terrified expressions of all the universe Kaioshin Shin of the 7th universe was naturally very proud at the moment. In everyone's shocked eyes, Goten had completed his transformation. His body was surrounded by jet-like aura flames of vibrant green, accompanied by golden lightning. His pupils had completely turned golden, and his whole body had become much burlier than before. He had transformed into the form of legendary Super Saiyan 2. No. Impossible. How did this guy become so powerful? In the last battle with Hit, he was obviously much weaker than he is now. Are you kidding? It's only been a few days, Champa thought, his complexion instantly paling as he sensed Goten's overwhelming and tyrannical aura. Surprise and disbelief filled his mind. There was no doubt that if he wanted to beat Goten now, it would not be simple. He might have to fight with all his strength. Ah! With this thought, Champa roared, bursting out with all his ki. Purple flames swirled around his body as his strength was raised to the extreme. Before, he had wanted to play with Goten and then ravage him. But now, it seemed that such an idea was not realistic. If he continued to toy around, he might not be able to deal with Goten, although such a thought was ridiculous. It was true. I have to admit that your strength is indeed beyond my imagination. But this boring game is coming to an end soon. I will completely defeat you with all my strength, Champa said seriously after exerting all his power. Although Goten's power had far exceeded his expectations, he still didn't think Goten could beat a real Hakashin. If there was no other way, he could always use destruction energy. After all, Zeno and the Grand Priest did not explicitly prohibit using such energy in the game or killing opponents. Stop talking nonsense. With all due respect, with your current strength, wanting to defeat me is simply wishful thinking, Goten said mercilessly. Even Beerus didn't have the strength to defeat him, let alone Champa, who was at the bottom of the Hakapressing list. Damn, you smug bastard. Let me show you the full power of the Hakashin. Champa grinned angrily, then jumped directly at Goten. His speed was much faster than before, representing a qualitative change in his power. Without hesitation, he threw a fist surrounded by purple radiance at Goten. Although Champa's power was indeed strong at this time, Goten didn't take it seriously. This kind of strength was relative. As Champa's fist descended, Goten withdrew his right foot and easily caught Champa's punch. The terrifying power was like an invisible iron clamp, making it impossible for Champa to break free. No, impossible. Why is this bastard's strength so strong? Champa panicked as he realized his all-out blow had been blocked effortlessly by Goten, who now restrained his fist completely. This realization made Champa understand Goten's true strength. This guy had definitely surpassed the level of a Hakaishin. After grabbing Champa's fist, Goten used the momentum to throw him over his shoulder. Grumble. Champa's obese body smashed into the ground, creating a huge crater in the heart arena. As gravel splashed, Champa spat out a mouthful of gastric juices. Your strength is really too weak, Champa, Goten said coldly, looking sharply at Champa. You are completely incomparable to me. Bastard! There should be a limit to getting carried away. It's enough, you mortal bug, Champa howled angrily as the tearing pain coursed through his body. If he had been beaten this badly by another Hakashin, he could have tolerated it without anger. But now, he was beaten by a mortal from the 7th universe, which was absolutely unbearable. Huh! With an angry roar, Champa's palm instantly condensed a huge purple energy ball. Infused with the energy of destruction, clearly he intended to use this destructive energy to eliminate Goten completely. No matter how powerful a mortal was, It was impossible to resist the destructive energy. Bug, completely disappear for me, Champa roared as the destructive energy shot towards Goten quickly. Champa's irritable approach made Vidu's frown slightly. Whoa, Champa-sama is really so anxious. I didn't expect him to even use destruction energy. But Zeno-sama seems to be very optimistic about Goten. If he is really killed, this matter may end up being quite bad, Vidos whispered. Kaioshin Fuwa's expression was quite serious as well, noting that Goten had clearly angered Champa completely. But Champa's approach was too dangerous. None of the other 11 gods had used the power of destruction from the beginning of the battle until now. Oh no, Champa-sama is really too reckless. Fighting Goten and even using the power of destruction, Kaioshin Shin of the 7th universe frowned tightly. Don't worry, Kaioshin-sama. That boy Goten has already mastered the Hakyoshin abilities. The power of destruction will not have any effect on him, Wiz said with a relaxed face. Perhaps no one else could perceive the destructive ki in Goten's body, but as an angel who trained him, Wiz could clearly perceive it. Goten had been hiding this matter all along and had not exposed it. Really? Really? Shin hurriedly asked in surprise. If so, that was great news. As the destructive energy shot towards him rapidly, Goten's face didn't change at all. Having also mastered the power of destruction, he was not afraid of it. This kind of energy could be dealt with easily. However, Beerus didn't know about this. Seeing Champa using the power of destruction, his brow furrowed instantly. If Champa succeeded, the situation would be very bad. The 7th universe would lose a strong fighter, and Goten was a very good friend. More importantly, Champa might also be punished by Zeno for killing Goten. Although they usually quarreled fiercely, they were brothers whose blood was thicker than water. Naturally, Beerus didn't want to see his own brother wiped out by Zeno. Beerus shot out a burst of destructive energy from his fingertips, directly smashing Champa's energy. Look after yourself, Beerus. Just as Beerus was distracted, Quite-a appeared above Beerus's head and delivered a roundabout kick, hitting Beerus heavily in the face. Beerus was kicked out directly, landing heavily on the edge of the ring after bouncing a few times. Yeah, Beerus, you are really in a mess. Claiming to be the most powerful Hakyoshin, aren't you too shameless? Quite-a taunted loudly after kicking Beerus away. It was a joy to see Beerus in such a mess. This scene was seen by Goten. After fighting Beerus for the first time, he had come to regard Beerus as a friend. Seeing Beerus being bullied by those shameless guys, Goten's eyes flickered coldly. A bunch of despicable bastards. I won't be called Goten if I don't give you all a psychological trauma today. Goten clenched his fists tightly, looking at Belmod and Quite-a with cold eyes. Their smiles were so disgusting. As Goten burned with anger, Champa jumped up again for a sneak attack. But the moment the punch was about to hit, Goten dodged easily. Then, like lightning, his right hand shot out and grabbed Champa's neck. With a slight force, Champa's body struggled frantically, but no matter how hard he tried, he couldn't break free from Goten's grip. A shadow of fear enveloped his heart instantly. Lifeless waste. If it wasn't for being Beerus's brother, you would be a corpse now. Goten stared at Champa with extremely cold eyes and said, as he finished speaking, another fist struck Champa's abdomen heavily, sinking more than 10 centimeters directly. The moment his pupils constricted, a mouthful of purple blood spurted from Champa's mouth as his body flew out of the arena like a shell fired from a cannon, directly towards the audience stands of the 6th universe. Vados caught Champa firmly from behind. Another mouthful of blood spurted from Champa's mouth, and it was unclear whether it was due to the serious injury or sheer anger. After all, he was the first god to be knocked out of the ring, and he was defeated by a mortal from the 7th universe. This was simply outrageous. At this time, the Kaioshin from other universes were completely dumbfounded. They didn't expect the mortal from the 7th universe to be so powerful, almost instantly defeating Hakyoshin Champa of the 6th universe. The Hakyoshin represented the peak of power in a universe. Gods with the most terrifying strength. In the hands of a mortal from the 7th universe, Champa seemed weak. If that was the case, then what was the point of Zeno holding the Tournament of Power? This guy was stronger than a Hakyoshin? How could mortals from other universes be his opponents? Not just the Kaioshin from other universes, even the Hakyoshin in the ring were dumbfounded. Are you kidding me? Champa is so weak? Easily defeated by the mortal of the 7th universe, they said, though they knew very well that even though Champa was relatively weak for a Hakushin, the strength of a Hakushin was far from being comparable to that of a mortal. This also showed that the mortal from the 7th universe was indeed extraordinary. A mortal has such powerful force that he can even defeat a Hakushin. This is too ugly. Hakushin Hellas of the 2nd universe said in a dignified voice. She knew her own strength might not be as strong as Champa's, meaning the mortal from the 7th universe also had the strength to easily defeat her. It looks like we all underestimated the guy from the 7th universe. His strength doesn't seem to be weaker than ours at all, Hawkeye-shun Belmod of the 11th universe said with a very ugly face. He originally thought that even if Goten's strength was strong, there was a big gap between him and a Hawkeye-shun. But now it seemed they had thought too little of him before. Goten was no weaker than a Hawkeye. What are you afraid of? Admittedly, he deserves credit for defeating Champa, but we are Hakahishin. I don't believe that guy can ignore our destructive energy, Poitai said stiffly. If Beerus hadn't blocked Champa's destructive energy just now, maybe that boy would have already been defeated. Whoosh! After easily defeating Champa, Goten flashed his body and appeared directly in front of Beerus. He stretched out his hand and looked at Beerus, asking, "Are you all right? Can you still fight?" Beerus immediately grabbed Goten's hand, and after standing up, a smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. He said proudly, "Of course, there is no problem. It's just a bunch of trash, who can only form gangs. If they fought alone, they are not worth mentioning at all." But arrogance aside, the fact that the 10 Hakushin had joined forces could not be underestimated. Even if he and Goten teamed up to defeat these guys, it would not be easy. Then let's go together! I really want to experience the strength of this group of rabble. Goten smiled, and the vibrant green radiance around his body became more violent. Obviously, at this moment, he had exerted his strength to the extreme. Good. Beerus nodded generously. With the strength of the two of them, if they could defeat all the Hakushin, it would be a legendary story. Idiots who are overconfident, do you really think that the two of you can defeat all the Hakushin together? Sneered. You guys deal with Beerus. Ramshay, Sidra, and Liquor. Let's get rid of that mortal. Belmod immediately spoke to the other gods. There were 10 of them now. 5 should be more than enough to deal with Beerus. As for the mortal from the 7th universe, it was enough to make him proud that 5 Hakushin would join forces to deal with him. Good. All the gods nodded in agreement. They had a common goal now, get rid of Beerus and the guy from his universe first. Then, the remaining Hakaishin would have a showdown. Whoosh whoosh! In the next second, all the Hakaishin flashed out. Vrumshi and Sidra rushed to the top. When they were only a few tens of feet away from Goten, they roared suddenly. The terrifying sonic attack distorted the surrounding space, and the energy ripple spread instantly. The target was, of course, Goten. The moment Rumshi attacked, Belmod also struck simultaneously. A huge energy barrier instantly wrapped around Goten's body. This was one of the famous stunts of the 11th universe, Hakaishin Belmod. After being trapped in his energy barrier, even a god would find it difficult to break free. Let's see you face the two of us now! A triumphant smile appeared on Belmod's face. Now Goten was completely chained. Moreover, Rumshi's roar had clearly affected Goten, likely leaving him dazed. With a move from Belmod, Goten could be easily defeated. Belmod's hands crossed suddenly, and 6 cards condensed by destructive energy appeared between his fingers. Liquor on the side immediately activated his Ninetales mode. The terrifying destructive energy began to condense rapidly. Stupid and ignorant mortal, disappear here completely. This is your best outcome. An extremely cold smile spread across Belmod's clown face. The 6 destroying flying cards in his fingertips were thrown towards Goten instantly. Simultaneously, the destructive energy from Liquor's Ninetales blasted away. They firmly believed that such a powerful attack could easily make Goten disappear without a trace. It was just a mortal being. This level of attack was really overkill. Rumble. In the next second, the extremely strong arena was blown out, leaving a huge sinkhole. Goten's body was completely swallowed by the energy wave.
Yeah, Goten got hit. Has he been killed already, Daishin-kun?
Zeno asked the Grand Priest immediately after seeing such a terrifying explosion. But there was no fluctuation in his eyes. No pity or reluctance for the affection he had shown for Goten before. If Goten was killed, it could only be blamed on his lack of strength. Not at all, Zeno-sama. Goten's strength is greater than we imagined. He can use the power of destruction and he can't be killed. I can clearly feel that Goten's aura hasn't changed at all. This means the Hakashin's attack had no effect on him. The Grand Priest shook his head and explained, a look of surprise appearing on his face again. Facing the joint attack of several gods, and even using the power of destruction, had no impact on Goten. His strength seemed to be a bit outrageous. He is alright. Goten is amazing. Zeno suddenly looked excited after hearing the Grand Priest's words. At this time, Krillin and Trunks of the 7th universe had very solemn expressions. They couldn't clearly perceive Goten's breath, so they didn't know if Goten was injured in the explosion. It's best if he dies here, Champa said with an extremely gloomy expression after being healed by Vitos. To be humiliated twice in a row at the hands of a mortal was something that hadn't happened since he became a Hakashin. This huge humiliation felt even worse than being killed. In the arena, Rumshi and Seijira looked at the still tumbling blast wave and asked in low voices, did we kill him? Logically, the combined energy of Belmod and Liquid should have been enough to kill a god. No matter how extraordinary Goten was, it seemed impossible for him to survive that attack. You guys are overestimating that bug. The attack from me and Liquid just now could kill a Hakashin, let alone a mere mortal, Belmod said confidently. They had used Hakashin's exclusive destructive energy, making it overkill for a mortal. Just when they were complacent, thinking they had killed Goten, the shockwave and dust generated by the explosion began to dissipate. The next moment, everyone heard the sound of rising flames. Through the thinning smoke, a familiar silhouette appeared in their view. What? That guy wasn't killed? How is that possible? Belmod and Liquid's expressions darkened instantly. They had used destruction energy, which should have been enough to kill a mortal, yet Goten's aura started to rise rapidly, even stronger than before. K-pa. Accompanied by the crisp sound of footsteps, the figure in the smoke walked towards them step by step. Belmod and the others felt their hearts tremble uncontrollably with each step. After a while, Goten emerged from the pit of the explosion. A cold smile on his face. His clothes were intact, indicating he hadn't suffered any injuries in the battle. The vibrant green hair was bundled up high, and the jet-like flames around his body became more intense. Hey, what the hell were you doing just now? Were you scratching my itch? Goten grinned and mocked coldly. Don't tell me that the attack of the majestic Hakashin is only at this level. Having mastered the power of destruction, Goten was not afraid of Hakashin's destructive energy at all. His current strength had already surpassed all the Hakashin, so the attack just now couldn't harm him. No! Impossible! What are you? One of the Hakashin stammered in fear. Did this guy train with Daishinkan-sama? He's so strong. The 5 Hakashin in front of Goten were filled with fear. They had used their best tricks, yet Goten remained unscathed. Not even his clothes were damaged, which was outrageous. It seemed likely that Goten had received training from the Grand Priest. Even training with an angel couldn't produce such results. What are you hesitating for? Ran out of tricks already. Goten sneered. If that's the case, then it's my turn to make a move. Goten's eyes locked onto Belmod. By the way, your name is Belmod, right? To be honest, I don't like you very much, and you have an unpleasant face. Let's start with you. The moment his eyes locked on Belmod, Goten's body disappeared like a ghost, moving at a ridiculous speed. Belmod and the others couldn't see him clearly at all. Boom! And the next second, Goten's fist struck Belmod's face directly and heavily. Click! Accompanied by a crisp sound, Belmod's nose bridge was smashed. Blood gushed out instantly as all his facial features were collapsed by the punch. His body flew several tens of feet away and hit the edge of the ring heavily. The other Hakashin were instantly dumbfounded. Belmod's strength was considered the highest among them. They didn't expect him to be punched and flown out without even having a chance to react, almost losing the ability to fight entirely. Let's go together. Don't give this guy a chance. Likigor immediately spoke to everyone. With clenched fists, he released destructive energy. Violet flames surrounded his body as the others gritted their teeth and rushed towards Goten. Ha! Seeing the several Hakushin rushing over, Goten clenched his fists and roared. The terrifying aura in his body spread out in all directions like a flood. The momentum was so strong that the entire space began to distort. The ground under his feet started to collapse even more. Bang, bang, bang. The moment the bodies of the 4 Hakushin were hit by the airwave, they flew backwards. After spewing out blood, their bodies fell out of the ring directly. Then, that guy is so strong that it's like he's cheating. He actually eliminated Liquier and the others just by releasing his ki. Champa, who was originally full of anger, now looked confused. The anger in his heart disappeared instantly. With just a ki spike, the 4 Hakushin were directly eliminated. If Goten had wanted to kill him before, it might have been easier than killing a chicken. Now you understand what Goten said earlier? Vito said to Champa with a smile. If you weren't Beerus-sama's brother, you might have been killed before. Hearing this, Champa felt a chill down his spine. Pay. After easily eliminating Liquier and the others, Goten walked in front of Belmod step by step. At this point, Belmod was lying on the edge, obviously too weak to stand up. You always look sinister and cunning. To be honest, I don't like you very much, so let me take you down personally. After Goten's faint voice fell, he directly kicked Belmod's chest heavily. Click! When Belmod's body flew out, his chest collapsed directly. Belmod fell heavily onto the audience stands of the 11th universe. Belmod-sama, are you alright? Toppo hurried forward to check, but Belmod pushed him away. Then Belmod turned and lowered his head, his eyes filled with fury. Honey, let me help you heal. Angel Margarita said as she gently waved her staff. The injuries on Belmod disappeared instantly, but the psychological blow he suffered would never heal. To be so humiliated by a mortal in front of the gods was an absolute shame and humiliation for him. Belmod-sama, Toppo called again, tentatively. Although he could feel Belmod's anger, he didn't know how to comfort him. Toppo let Belmod-sama calm down for a while. Angel Margarita reminded Toppo. To be defeated by a mortal in such a humiliating way was obviously very unacceptable for the always proud Belmod. He needed to calm down to untie the knot in his heart. Alright, Toppo nodded and turned his gaze back to the ring, locking on to Goten. He had come this time not only to meet Zeno, but also to compete with other participants from the universes. But now, it seemed, there was no need. The strength of Goten from the 7th universe was too overwhelming. Even if he challenged him now, it would only be asking for a beating and embarrassing himself. In the ring, with the elimination of Belmod's group of 5 gods, the remaining 5 gods began to panic. Goten had dealt with 5 gods in a short time, meaning he could easily eliminate them as well. This was just crazy. A mortal whose strength had completely surpassed them, Hakushin, made them feel utterly defeated. Perhaps due to the panic, the remaining gods couldn't exert their full strength. When Beerus used Ultra Instinct, he easily sent all 5 gods off the stage. They had almost lost the desire to fight. The reason was simple. Even if the normal battle continued, Beerus and Goten from the 7th universe would stand until the end. There was no need for them to resist. Ho? The Hakushin from other universes have been eliminated. Zeno-sama, the final winners are Beerus and Goten from the 7th universe. Grand Priest said in surprise. The strength of the two of them directly eliminated 11 Hakushin from other universes, which was incredible. After all, it was just a universe that ranked second to last in Mortal Comprehensive level. That was so awesome just now. Even a Hakushin is no longer his match. But I still haven't seen enough. Zeno looked excited, though still a little unsatisfied. The contest of Hakushin was fast, but he could see clearly, especially Goten's previous offense. Every move was very clear, and he could see him knocking those gods out of the ring. He looked very excited. Zeno-sama, if you watch it all at once, the upcoming Tournament of Power would not be exciting to watch. So, let's stop here for today's exhibition match. With anticipation, the Tournament of Power will be more exciting, the Grand Priest said with a smile, looking at the still eager Zeno. After all, today was just an overview of the competition, and the specific rules of the Tournament of Power had not yet been formulated, and today's situation was very clear. All the Hakushin combined, it was estimated that they could not beat Goten. This made him a little worried. Goten was so powerful that it would be unfair to let him compete with other universe mortals. The contest would lose its focus because, with his strength, he could likely sweep through several other universes. Alright. If that's the case, then I'll listen to Daishinkan. Zeno nodded helplessly. The tournament held between the whole multiverse was the final highlight. At this time, the faces of the gods in the other 11 universes were extremely gloomy and solemn. If the 7th universe participated in the Tournament of Power, there was no doubt that their universes would have no chance of winning. They feared they might be wiped out by Zeno, but this was beyond their control. The Grand Priest's voice addressed everyone. Okay, everyone, your performance just now was very exciting. Zeno-sama enjoyed watching it, but this was just an ordinary match before the Tournament of Power, so no rewards will be given this time. Beerus was obviously unhappy. After finally defeating all the gods, there was not even a single reward. Though upset, he didn't dare voice his displeasure. If he did, he might find himself on the wrong end of the Grand Priest's punishment. As for the Tournament of Power, it will be held after 57.6 tax in the Null Realm. Due to the comprehensive mortal level values of the 1st universe, the 12th universe, the 5th universe, and the 8th universe being more than 7. They do not need to participate. The other 8 universes will each send 10 participants to compete. The official Tournament of Power will start in 5 days. Hakaishin and Kaioshin of the various universes, do you have any objection? The 4 universes exempt from participation looked relaxed. They were not particularly interested in the reward for winning, but were deeply concerned about the potential punishment for losing. Especially with Goten from the 7th universe participating, winning seemed like a dream for the other universes. Daishinken-sama, what kind of rewards will the winners receive? And what punishment will the losers face? Hakasin, Quidla of the 4th universe, dared to ask. This guy was always bold, even in front of Zeno and the Grand Priest. If you win the game, you will be rewarded with a chance to make a wish upon the Super Dragon Balls. If you lose, the Grand Priest's voice paused slightly, his eyes sharpened, and his tone became serious. That universe will be completely wiped out by Zeno-sama immediately. The announcement made all the Hakashin and Kaioshin gasp in horror. Cold sweat broke out on their foreheads, and their bodies trembled uncontrollably. They had speculated about the possibility of being wiped out after losing, but hearing it confirmed by the Grand Priest made it hard to accept. It was just a contest, and losing would mean the complete destruction of their universe. This was unreasonable, but it was the decision of Zeno and the Grand Priest, which no one could change. Are you kidding me? If that's the case, our universes have no chance at all. That guy from the 7th universe, who can be his opponent? The Hakayashin of the 2nd, 9th, and 10th universes were all crying. Their universes already had low mortal comprehensive levels, and now they had to deal with a monster that even Hakayashin couldn't handle. They had no hope at all, only the fate of being wiped out. It's over. It's over. It looks like it's all over this time. Whether it's Hit or Kale from our universe, it's absolutely impossible to be the opponent of Goten. Even all universes combined have no chance of winning, Champa muttered in despair. Despite intense training, the fighters from the 6th universe were nowhere near the level of a Hakaishin. Even if they reached that level, they couldn't defeat Goten. In this case, there was no hope for the 6th universe, and they would likely be erased. Hee. Although I don't want to add insult to injury, this result is really good. Let those guys all die, Beerus grinned, thinking to himself. However, when he looked at his brother Champa, his eyes softened. As blood brothers, he naturally didn't want Champa to be erased. But this was the declaration of Zeno and the Grand Priest, and no one could change it. Daishinkan-sama, Zeno-sama. With all due respect, I think this contest is very unfair. We all saw the strength of Goten from the 7th universe today. He has the strength to fight against all 12 Hakayashin at the same time. If he is allowed to participate in the Tournament of Power, then all mortals in our universes cannot be his opponent. The ones that will be destroyed by then will definitely be our universes. Quite spoke again. His words resonated with the other 7 Hakashin, who quickly nodded in agreement. If Goten from the 7th universe participated, there would be no suspense in the Tournament of Power. It would be better to destroy their 7 universes now than to force them to fight a rigged match. Whew! What everyone said seems to be true. The strength of the 7th universe's Goten has indeed surpassed that of the Hakayashin. If he is allowed to participate in the power competition, it will obviously lose its fairness. Grand Priest said thoughtfully, since this is the case, Goten from the 7th universe doesn't have to participate in this competition. These words instantly turned Beerus's joy into cold dread. What? Are you kidding me? You won't let Goten participate? How can this be? Goten is also immortal from our universe. Beerus and Shin panicked immediately. If Goten was disqualified, it would be much harder for the 7th universe to secure the final victory. Daishinken-sama, please reconsider. Although Goten's strength is indeed very strong, he is also a part of our 7th universe, a mortal of our universe. If he is disqualified, it will be too unfair to our universe. Beerus pleaded urgently. With only Trunks and Krillin participating, their chances of winning would be significantly reduced. There might be even more powerful mortals in other universes, making it truly unfair for them. Goten frowned slightly. He didn't expect that after showing his full strength he would be disqualified from participation. This was an unforeseen complication. This has to be a joke. It is unfair that Goten is not allowed to participate. Trunks and Krillin also immediately protested. Daisenkan, I'd love to see Goten participate. Zeno chimed in, clearly wanting the competition to include Goten. This. Well, since Zeno-sama said so, let Goten be allowed to participate in the competition. Grand Priest nodded awkwardly. Disobeying Zeno was not an option. The sudden change made the Hakushin of the 7 universes look mortified. Their fleeting hope vanished instantly. It's over! The dawn of hope they saw was instantly extinguished. Okay, everyone, this is the end of today's exhibition match. As for the specific details of the power tournament, I will tell all universes at the appropriate time. Now everyone, please go back. Grand Priest concluded briefly. With a wave of his hand, all the gods and the mortals from their respective universes disappeared. When they reappeared, Goten and Beerus had returned to the Hakushin realm. It's great. It's a good thing Goten wasn't disqualified. Otherwise, our 7th universe would be in serious danger this time. Beerus said, relieved. That's right. Beerus-sama, Whis agreed. Because, as far as I know, there are mortals in other universes beyond Hakushin. If Goten did not participate in the competition, it would be really difficult to win the final victory. The universe was vast, and there were many mortals with outstanding fighting talents. In some universes, there were indeed mortals whose combat power had surpassed that of some Hokashin. Indeed, what a blessing, Trunks and Krillin echoed. Without Goten, they couldn't lead alone. By the way, Beerus-sama, how long until the time for the Tournament of Power that the Shinken mentioned? Trunks asked, curious about the divine timing. Roughly equal to 40 Earth hours, so we don't have much time. During this period, in addition to finding all 10 contestants, you must also race against time to improve your strength. Beerus answered, even if they were powerful, other universes were sure to have strong fighters. It was crucial to prepare thoroughly. Grand Priest's previous actions had truly scared Beerus. He never knew when the Grand Priest might change his mind again. Therefore, it was essential to improve the strength of all participants immediately. Goten, our 7th universe participants should be enough now, right? Beerus asked. When they had contested against the 6th universe before, they had gathered 5 participants. With Goku and the others now resurrected, it made for 5 more people, rounding out to 10 participants. This was thanks to Goten's foresight. Otherwise, it would have been too late to find the other 5 participants now. Even if Goku and the others were resurrected at this late stage, their strength wouldn't match the required level. Yes, it's just right now, Goten confirmed. I just hope they don't change their mind halfway through. The change of mind he referred to was not from the participants of the 7th universe, but from Zeno and the Grand Priest. If they didn't allow him to participate, the 7th universe would be 1 person short and significantly weakened. That's good, Beerus nodded. We still have more than 40 hours left. If all the participants have been gathered, then everyone can continue to train. Although our universe has a great chance of winning this time, we must not relax. Beerus' serious tone was rare. Losing the game this time meant the 7th universe would disappear on the spot. As it's Hakushin, he couldn't let that happen. That's right, then you guys should train with Whis first. I'm gonna Earth. There are still some unresolved things that need to be taken care of. Goten said. With his current strength, even Jiren from the 11th universe was just a minor character. However, the real dangers were Grand Priest and Zeno. They could kill him instantly. This recent match with the gods made Goten stand out, which wasn't necessarily good. Grand Priest actions suggested he might be wary of Goten's strength. Goten needed to consider everything carefully and prepare for the worst situations to survive in this dangerous world. Fine. If that's the case, then go. Anyway, with your current strength, even if you don't train, it is estimated that mortals in other universes cannot be your opponent. Beerus said confidently Goten could easily defeat 5 Hakushin, and there were no mortals in other universes who could match that level of power. A few minutes later, Whis took Beerus and the others to a mysterious place to start training. The harsh environment and extended time there would help them improve faster. After everyone left to train, Goten used Kai Kai and arrived at a desolate planet on the edge of the Western Galaxy. He didn't join Whis and the others for training because he had his own plan to use the Super Dragon Balls to make a wish. He had acquired the Super Dragon Balls earlier, but never had the time to use them. Now, with the Tournament of Power using the Super Dragon Balls as the final prize, he needed to make his wish before Zeno and the Grand Priest took them back. There were still 2 days before the competition, so he had to act quickly. Any cooldown period would be dealt with by Zeno and Grand Priest, given their immense power. After arriving on the remote planet in the Western Galaxy, Goten sensed no signs of biological activity. The surrounding planets were also desolate, with very few living creatures. Even if some uncontrollable events destroyed several planets, it wouldn't cause significant damage. Having learned the language of the gods from Shin, Goten decided on the location. With a thought, 7 Super Dragon Balls flew out from his storage space and formed a circle around the planet, fitting together perfectly. 7 huge Super Dragon Balls emitted a yellow light, ready for his wish. Sikose, 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 Sicko say, sicko, 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 say, sicko, 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 shagan, prexicrace, pragas. Goten invoked a summoning spell in the language of the gods, as Whis had done before to summon Super Shenron. Instantly, the 7 brilliant yellow Super Dragon Balls burst into dazzling golden light, enveloping the entire Western Galaxy in a golden glow. A few seconds later, a golden light shot into the sky, transforming into a massive dragon. Super Shenron's entire body radiated a golden light, illuminating the vast universe that had undergone earth-shaking changes from its previous state. Standing before the core of Super Shenron, Goten knew he was within the body of this mighty dragon. The dragon's incomparably thick voice rang out, "The person who summoned me, please tell me your wish. I can help you realize any wish." "Super Shenron, please grant me Zeno's erasing power," Goten requested without hesitation. If he could gain Zeno's ability to erase, he wouldn't have to fear Zeno and the Grand Priest anymore. Sorry, but Dragon God Zaloma-sama, who created me, doesn't have that ability. I can't make this wish come true. Please change it to another wish. Super Shenron responded with embarrassment. If the original Dragon God Zalama had that kind of power, he wouldn't have been easily sealed by Zeno. So, a wish beyond the scope of the Super Shenron maker's strength was naturally impossible to realize. So, can I gain the ability to resist Zeno's erasure? Goten asked, knowing that such a wish was unlikely to come true. He wasn't surprised. This was the next best thing, and immediately spoke again. It would be nice to gain the ability to block Zeno's power. At least in the future, there would be no risk of being wiped out anytime, anywhere. Sorry, I can't do this kind of thing, Super Shenron said, awkwardly, shaking his head again. He didn't expect the wishes made by the mortal in front of him to be so perverse. Even Zalama, the creator of the Super Shenron, never had such power. Naturally, he couldn't grant it either. You call this being able to grant any wish? Looks like I expected too much from you, Super Shenron, Goten said, a little speechlessly. If these wishes couldn't be fulfilled, then the role of Super Shenron seemed a bit small. He was also very curious why in Dragon Ball Super, Super Shenron was able to revive all the 8 universes that Zeno wiped out after the power tournament. Why can't he give me the ability to resist Zeno's erasure now? Could it be that after the Tournament of Power, the wish to restore all the erased universes was not fulfilled by Super Shenron, but by Zeno and the Grand Priest themselves? Although this kind of speculation made Goten feel a little dubious, it was not impossible. Although the Dragon God Zalamo was very strong, he definitely had no ability to compete with Zeno. There was also absolutely no ability to restore what Zeno had erased. Then, as the Super Dragon Balls were created by the Dragon God Zalamo, they naturally didn't have such ability. You should make another wish. Super Shenron's voice sounded again. His words were heavy, obviously filled with some embarrassment. Since its birth, no one had ever made such a strange wish. Whether it was the Hakushin or other gods, they never thought of rebelling against Zeno. Mortals today seem to have great ambitions, to make a wish to obtain Zeno's power. Well, if this is the case, then help me develop the potential of my body to the maximum, completely unlock the restriction of the bloodline in my body, allowing me to become stronger without limit, Goten said, changing his wish. In fact, he initially wanted to wish for the angel's bloodline or the abilities that angels possessed. But he realized that such a wish was a bit too small. His strength would surpass the level of angels sooner or later, and that day was definitely not far away. If he made this wish, it would have no effect after his strength surpassed that of an angel. And an angel's upper limit was not very high, at least not higher than Zeno and the Grand Priest. Therefore, he decided to wish to develop all the potential in his body and let his bloodline grow without limit. In this way, he could definitely surpass angels in a short time. He might even become a true top god who could surpass Zeno and the Grand Priest someday. Okay, I can help you realize your wish, Super Shenron immediately agreed. There was an obvious sigh of relief in his voice. This guy finally chose a more normal wish. Then, a scarlet light suddenly flashed in his eyes. Okay, I have helped you realize your wish. All your potential has been released, and the upper limit of your bloodline has also been raised to the extreme. Farewell until next time, Super Shenron said. After his voice fell, his body instantly turned into 7 golden rays of light and then disappeared, as if fleeing in a hurry. After Super Shenron developed his potential, Goten felt subtle changes in his body. It was as if there was an extra spring in his body. Power was like spring water, constantly emerging from his body. Every minute and every second, the power was constantly getting stronger. This speed was obviously much faster than before. Is this a super bloodline after the potential was developed by Super Shenron? Seems that this wish was not bad at all. Probably even better than gaining the ability to prevent Zeno's erasure. Goten said to himself happily, feeling the changes in his body and the continuous growth of his strength. Not only had he fully developed all the potential in his body, but the upper limit of his bloodline had also been raised to the extreme. In other words, his future achievements would definitely be very high. Saiyans had always been without limits, and as the legendary Super Saiyan, there would be no limit. After a while, the surroundings had fully returned to normal. The 7 Super Dragon Balls also disappeared without a trace. Looks like it's time to go home, Goten muttered to himself, looking at the vast universe around him. Then, in an instant, his body flashed and disappeared from the West Galaxy. When he reappeared, he was already at Earth's Mount Paozu. After knocking on the door, he saw Chi-Chi and Videl cooking. Goten is back. Chi-Chi exclaimed happily. It's just in time for dinner, so hurry up and join us. Videl thoughtfully moved a chair for him. Well, thanks. Goten nodded quickly. Watching the two busy in the kitchen, he felt a rare sense of peace. Perhaps only at home could he forget about training, forget about powerful opponents, and enjoy this sense of security. Mom, I have good news for you, Goten said with a smile, looking at the busy Chi-Chi. Goku and Gohan had been resurrected, and it was time to let Chi-Chi know the good news. After all, she missed Goku and Gohan more than anyone. What good news? Chi-Chi asked casually. You won't tell me that you brought me another daughter-in-law from another place again. Let me tell you, I've already accepted Videl, and I won't accept others. These days, if it wasn't for Videl, who was always by her side, life would be rather boring. She had long regarded Videl as her daughter-in-law. Hearing this, Videl blushed instantly, then glanced at Videl. Videl had been waiting for so long. It seemed that after the Tournament of Power, it was time to give Videl a definite answer. It wasn't fair to keep her waiting indefinitely. Of course not. Goten shook his head. Father and Gohan have been revived by Beerus. Now they are training on Beerus Planet, and then they will participate in the Tournament of Power, held by the powerhouses all over the multiverse. After the Tournament of Power is over, we'll come home together. Although calling him father felt a little uncomfortable, Goten knew he had to say it in front of Chi-Chi. Bang dang. Chi-Chi's body froze suddenly, and the plate she was washing fell to the ground. She turned her head and asked excitedly, Really? Is this true? Goten, are your father and Gohan really resurrected? For the past 8 years, she had dreamed about the resurrection of Goku and Gohan, but they had always refused, so she didn't think about using the Dragon Balls to make a wish to revive them. She didn't expect them to be revived now. Their family could finally reunite properly. Yes, it's true. Father and Gohan have indeed been revived. Goten said, "In 2.5 days, I'll bring them back home." Seeing Chi-Chi's happy appearance, Goten was also very happy. Perhaps seeing Chi-Chi happy was the thing that made him happiest. Well, good. Very good. Chi-Chi's excited eyes filled with tears. After 8 long years, their family could finally be reunited. After this reunion, Chi-Chi would definitely not stop them from training. She never wanted to be separated from them again. After they had a simple lunch together, Goten went to Bulma's house to tell Android 21 about participating in the Tournament of Power. After all, Android 21's strength was still very formidable. Compared to those in other universes, she was much stronger than most fighters. For this kind of competition, Android 21 was naturally looking forward to it. Being idle was boring, so it was better to stretch her muscles a bit. Goten then casually informed Majin Buu about it. Naturally, Majin Buu had no objections. In fact, he didn't dare to have any opinions at all. After all, it was Goten who had shown mercy, allowing him to survive until now. Otherwise, he would have been killed long ago. The day passed quickly, and night fell. Goten and Videl sat on the top of Mount Paozu, admiring the moonlight. "Goten, is the Tournament of Power you mentioned dangerous? Could you take me and Auntie Chi-Chi along with you to watch?" Videl spoke first. In fact, she was still very worried about Goten. The last time they contested against the 6th universe, it seemed that there was no danger, but that little guy named Zeno seemed to make Beerus very afraid, and this Tournament of Power was held by that little one. This made her subconsciously feel that there must be some danger. "Don't worry, there's nothing dangerous," Goten reassured her. "My current strength should be stronger than other universe participants. However, the competition this time is different from the last one. No visitors are allowed this time, so you and Mom probably won't be able to watch the battle." Then he turned his head and smiled. It wasn't that he was overconfident, but the other universe participants really couldn't pose any threat to him, including Jiren, who was the most dazzling in the Tournament of Power. "It's okay, it doesn't matter if we don't go," Videl smiled. "As long as you and everyone can come back safely, that's what we want to see the most." In fact, she thought every day that if she were with Goten, she would have endless things to say. But now that they were really together, she found that the things she had rehearsed countless times in her mind were hard to speak now. "By the way, how about I take you on a tour to other planets after this Tournament of Power is over?" Goten suddenly turned his head with a smile on his face. After such a long time, Videl's persistence had paid off. She helped take care of his mother at Mount Paozu every day. Goten was not a heartless person, and he knew that Videl, with her good looks and wealth, was sincere in pursuing him. She let go of her lifestyle to stay in a place like Mount Paozu, which was enough to prove her intention. So Goten had already thought about taking Videl to travel to other places. After the tournament, it would also be a way to relax. After all, with the training in the hyperbolic time chamber, he hadn't had a good rest for 10 years. Really, Videl was overjoyed. She quickly asked, "So is this a date?" It was clear she was very happy at the moment. Unexpectedly, Goten would say such words. Suddenly, she was indeed caught off guard. But quite excited, this also meant that Goten seemed to be accepting her. "It counts!" Goten nodded with a smile. Although his current age, plus the time in the hyperbolic time chamber, was around 19 years old, more or less, he was a grown adult in his previous life. So even if it was about falling in love, it was understandable. "Yay! That's great!" Videl showed a triumphant gesture. Her persistence was finally not in vain. The two chatted for another hour. By this time, the entire mountain peak was completely shrouded in darkness. "Goten! Let's go back!" "If you stay a little longer, Aunt Chi-Chi will probably worry," Videl suggested. It was now so dark that nothing could be seen. "Okay. Let's go back then!" Goten nodded. The two then returned home. Chi-Chi, as a wife, noticed that Videl was quite happy. This showed that after this trip, the relationship between her and Goten had obviously been further upgraded. At this time, in the Hakushin realm of the 6th universe, Champa had assembled all the contestants of the 6th universe. All the participants who competed with the 7th universe last time were listed here. In addition, there were Butamo, Magetta, 2 Namekians, Sawanel, and Pelina, and Dr. Rhoda. Hey! You guys, how is your training going? Has your strength improved? This time the competition between all universes will be very difficult, especially against the 7th universe. It will be very hard to defeat them, Champa asked everyone seriously. Although he subconsciously felt that the 6th universe had no chance of winning at all, he had to maintain some hope. After all, their most powerful participant, Heat, couldn't possibly match Goten, and the 5 new guys were just there to make up the numbers. But still, he needed to hold on to some illusions and hopes for life. What if those hopes came true? Don't worry, Champa-sama. We have already mastered a transformation of a higher level than Super Saiyan. This time, we can definitely beat those guys from the 7th universe with ease. As for mortals in other universes, they don't stand a chance. Caulifla stepped forward with great confidence. Since the last match with the 7th universe ended, after the so-called Zeno Expo held an all-universe exhibition match, they were brought to the Hakushin realm of the 6th universe by Champa. They trained for a long time in a rather magical space. With their talent and hard work, they reached the level of Super Saiyan. Now she and Kaba had reached Super Saiyan 2, which was more powerful than Super Saiyan. As for Cal, she was even more amazing. She could now fully maintain her consciousness while transforming into Super Saiyan, and her strength was stronger than both of them combined. Even if she and Kaba joined forces, they wouldn't be able to defeat Kale. This was enough to prove the strength of their 6th universe. Moreover, after such a long period of training, Hit's strength had reached its peak. If there was another match against the 7th universe now, they had a 98% confidence of winning. The remaining 2% was because she didn't want to sound arrogant. Hit, you arrogant bastard! Every time you say it so confidently, the ending is always embarrassing and miserable. Do you think only your strength has improved? Let me tell you the truth. When I went to the Temple of Zeno this time, Goten of the 7th universe had already fought with the Hakushin. Champa immediately cursed loudly at Caulifla. This bastard was so overconfident last time. However, she didn't last even a second in the arena, and was directly eliminated. Now she was overconfident again, which gave Champa quite a headache. Sometimes, pride and arrogance were more terrifying than powerful opponents. Is that Goten so powerful that he can fight against the Hakushin? Then how did it end? Did the Hakushin win, or did Goten win? Caulifla asked curiously, looking at Champa. This time, even Hit, the always indifferent assassin, looked at Champa. He was also very curious about Goten's strength, and wanted to know how far that guy had grown. Among all the participants of the Tournament of Power, only Goten interested him. So now he wanted to know how good Goten was. Hey! Ask less when you shouldn't. You just need to know that Goten is very powerful right now. Champa frowned, unwilling to tell them the previous results. It was a huge humiliation to him. The majestic Hakushin was defeated by that guy in one fell swoop. Ho ho ho! Do you still need to ask about this matter? You can tell by Champa-sama's face. This time, the universe's Hakushin were quite miserable. They were all defeated by Goten, and it was an understatement of defeat. Vados replied with a smile. Making Champa lose face was something she enjoyed. Is this true? That Goten of the 7th universe defeated the Hakushin by himself, and he beat all the Hakushin in each universe? You're kidding, right? After hearing Videos' words, Caulifla's face showed a look of surprise. She became very serious. They all knew how powerful a Hakushin was. Could deal with existences like themselves. A Hakushin could do it with one finger, and Goten could actually defeat Hakushin, and even defeat Hakushin of all universes. This showed that the kid had strength countless times stronger than them. He could probably defeat them with just a breath, which was too exaggerated. They were both mortals and Saiyans. Why was the difference in strength so exaggerated? Oh, is there such a thing? That guy Goten, his strength has been raised to such an exaggerated level, it seems that even if the time skip skill is raised to 1 second, it is absolutely impossible to defeat him. However, I hope that trick can cause harm to him, Hit thought in shock. He had never admired anyone in his life, but Goten of the 7th universe, he truly admired from the bottom of his heart. A mortal being with power beyond a Haki-Shin was something he had always yearned for. It's too strong! Can a Saiyan from the 7th universe really reach this level? Unbelievable! Kaba, standing to the side, was completely dumbfounded. He thought that after breaking through the limit of Super Saiyan and reaching Super Saiyan 2, they were already very powerful. At least they shouldn't be weaker than Trunks. And if they joined forces, maybe Goten would be no problem. But now, it seemed their thoughts were a bit too naive. Don't be so nervous, everyone! Fido said in a relaxed tone. Although Goten of the 7th universe is really strong, it is not impossible for us to win. Did everyone forget the trick Kaioshin-sama taught you last time? Those words eased the extreme shock on their faces. Vados had mentioned Goten's true strength to prevent Caulifla and the others from being overconfident. Excessive self-confidence could lead to their elimination. However, she didn't want them to lose their fighting spirit either. If that happened, they didn't need to participate in this tournament of power. You mean the fusion thing that Kaioshin-sama told us about? Caulifla asked. Can that approach really beat Goten? Kaioshin Fuwa had indeed mentioned that the Kaioshin earrings could be used for fusion. After the fusion, a powerful and nearly invincible warrior would be born. But they had never tried it, so they didn't know if a fusion fighter could actually burst out with such strong force, as Kaioshin said. Not sure if you can beat Goten, though. Vados replied, but what is certain is that fusion will indeed give birth to an unprecedented super warrior. There is still time before the Tournament of Power starts. You can use this period to improve your own strength. Fusion will make you even stronger. Everyone nodded immediately, especially Head, who couldn't wait to enter the space where he trained before and complete his ultimate trick after hearing about Goten's strength. At this time in the 11th universe, Kaioshin K brought Toppo to the realm of Hakaishin. Is Jiren still saying no? Belmod asked with a gloomy expression, not looking back at Toppo and Kai. A few hours ago, he had sent Toppo and Kai to tell Jiren about the tournament between universes and to ask him to join the contest. But now only the two of them were back, which obviously meant Jiren refused. Jiren was the only hope for the 11th universe to win the final victory of this power tournament. If he didn't participate, they didn't have any hope for the 11th universe. Yes, Belmod-sama. Jiren said he's not interested in things like this at all. There's a lot of evil in the universe waiting for him to eliminate, so he doesn't have time to participate, Toppo said respectfully. Despite spending a full 3 hours trying to persuade Jiren, he wasn't moved at all. In the end, they had no choice but to give up. Damn! Didn't you tell Jiren that if we lose the Tournament of Power, the entire universe will be wiped out? Belmod spoke in a very solemn tone. Although this result was expected, Jiren was really too stubborn. If they lost the tournament, the entire universe would disappear. Didn't he know the seriousness of this matter? If the entire universe disappeared, what was the point of him guarding it? We did, Toppo continued. But Jiren said that if the universe is really destroyed, that is its fate. And if he participates, it would also cause other universes to be erased. So he won't take part in this kind of competition. Toppo knew that Jiren might say no, but he was more aware that if Jiren did not participate in this competition, no one would be able to stop Goten. Jiren has always been a true fighter for justice. It seems that he takes the survival of the universe very lightly. He won't be participating, which can cause the 11th universe will be wiped out. However, I still have a way to get him to participate. In his heart, there is something more important than the universe. An extremely sinister look suddenly flashed in Belmod's eyes as he spoke in a cold tone. At this point, Belmod was very clear. Jiren, this tournament, I will make you participate. The cold light in Belmod's eyes kept surging. Even if Jiren didn't care about the life and death of this universe, he should care about his master and whether can he be resurrected. He should want to know who his master was and who killed him. This was Jiren's weakness, and as long as he grasped this matter, it would not be an easy task for Jiren to refuse. Belmod-sama, I don't know if I should say something or not. Toppo asked tentatively from the side. Just tell me if you have anything to say, Belmod responded. Things had come to this point. Was there anything else that should not be said? That's right, Belmod-sama, Toppo began. Have you ever thought that even if you get Jiren to participate in this tournament, we might not win? You've seen the strength of Goten in the 7th universe. Although I've always believed in Jiren's strength, now I'm not 100% sure that he can defeat Goten. Toppo spoke very seriously. If someone had told him this before, he would never have believed it, because Jiren, in his mind, was an existence no different from a Hakahashin. In terms of combat power alone, Jiren was not weaker than a Hakahashin at all. But since seeing Goten's strength in the 7th universe yesterday, he had changed his previous arrogant attitude. Now he felt that even if Jiren participated, he might not win, because that Goten guy was just too powerful. You're absolutely right, Belmod nodded seriously. Although Jiren's strength is very strong, it cannot compare with a Hakashin. But that Goten already possesses strength beyond our Hakashin. So even if Jiren participates in the competition, it is impossible to defeat that boy. Belmod had naturally thought about this before, but had already devised a countermeasure that required the help of a Kaioshin. He was confident he could solve Jiren's problem. Meanwhile, except for the 7th, 6th, and 11th universes, the other 5 participating universes were also intensively searching for participants. However, when searching for participants, their hearts were already half cold. They hadn't paid much attention to the comprehensive strength of mortals in their universes, but now they realized their universes were so weak, it was estimated that their participants wouldn't be enough for Goten to crush into a ball. But there was no other way. Even if they couldn't beat Goten, they had to participate, because participating gave them a glimmer of hope. If they didn't, they would definitely face a dead end. The day quickly passed as all universes searched for their participants. At this time in the 7th universe, Goten had returned to the Hakashin realm. Goku and Vegeta, after a day of training, had already come out of that magical place. It looks like everyone is almost ready, was said, looking at the crowd. In that case, I'll start contacting Daishinkan-sama now. Now they had exactly 10 participants in their universe, and their respective strengths had become stronger. There should be no problem dealing with this tournament of power. As long as there were no major accidents, Goten could sweep the audience by himself. Well, let's get started. Beerus nodded and said to Whis. Then he looked at Goten and said, Goten, although I know your strength is outrageous, there are also powerful mortals in other universes, so don't take it lightly. If we lose this time, our entire 7th universe will be completely wiped out by Zeno-sama. I don't think anyone wants that to happen. Beerus' tone was very serious. As a Hakahashin who had lived for hundreds of millions of years, he did not want to be erased like this. And he hadn't finished tasting the food of Earth yet. Besides, after winning the game, there was another chance to make a wish with Super Shenron. Maybe he could take advantage of this opportunity to resurrect his brother Champa. Although they bickered a lot, the kind of family affection where blood is thicker than water would never change. Relax, Beerus, Goten said confidently. There are indeed strong opponents in other universes, but I don't think they are qualified to be my opponents. Goten's words were a bit arrogant, but he did have the capital for such arrogance. Even if his opponents were the Hakashin of the 12 universes, it wouldn't be easy to defeat him. Even if his opponents were angels, he still had the strength to fight against them. Okay, I'm relieved to hear that you are so confident, Beerus said with a smile. Then he nodded at Whis, signaling that the team could now go to the Null Realm. Yes! Whis nodded immediately. Then he took out his staff and started contacting the Grand Priest. Moments later, there was a voice call with the Grand Priest. Daishinkan-sama, our 7th universe is ready, and we can go to the Null Realm. Whis said to the crystal ball on the staff. Okay, I'll pick you up right away, the voice of the Grand Priest sounded. In a moment, the participants from the 7th universe were surrounded by a brilliant energy. In the next second, they disappeared from the Hakashin realm. When they appeared again, they had reached the Null Realm. This was a huge arena with a width of several thousand feet. Under their feet, in the center of the arena, stood a tall stone pillar, evenly divided into different colors. This was for measuring time. The Tournament of Power lasted a total of 100 takes, which is 48 minutes. When the huge stone pillar was completely inside the ground, it meant that the Tournament of Power was over. Everyone looked around, and the first to arrive was their 7th universe. Is this the realm of nothingness? Krillin and Trunks took a look around. It was completely pitch black, except for the huge sun-like ball of light directly above the ring. This place would be utterly dark without that light. Surrounding the arena were some auditoriums, apparently for the Hakushin, Kaioshin, and Angels of their respective universes, to watch the game. Same as Dragon Ball Super? Goten thought to himself. At this time, Zeno and the Grand Priest were right there in the east of the audience stands. The Grand Priest walked to the edge of the auditorium, looking at everyone from the 7th universe in the ring. He greeted them warmly. Participants of the 7th universe, welcome. I hope you can bring a wonderful battle next. However, the other universe participants haven't arrived yet, so please wait for a while. Yes, Daishinkan-sama, everyone nodded immediately and respectfully agreed. Buzz. At this moment, accompanied by a brilliant ray of light and the sound of breaking through the air, the 6th universe also arrived. Hey Beerus, I didn't expect you to come here so early. What? Are you so impatient to lose to our 6th universe and be erased by Zeno-sama? As soon as they met, the ever-cheap-mouthed Champa couldn't help but joke. Although he knew that the 6th universe simply didn't have the ability to compete with the 7th universe, he could only trash talk about it now. Because once the tournament started, their 6th universe might be completely destroyed. This damn fatty. Beerus didn't talk back, but frowned, and said in a low voice. He knew Champa was just joking before meeting his end, but the more this happened, the more uncomfortable he felt. After all, thinking of it in a roundabout way, he was gonna kill him with his own hands. Dead. At this time, Caulifla, a Saiyan from the 6th universe, walked towards Goten and the others step by step. There was a very confident smile on the corner of her mouth. She stopped in front of the 7th universe and looked at Goten. Hey, I heard that your strength has improved a lot, and you can actually defeat a Hakushin, right? Hehe. You are really amazing, to be honest. I admire you very much, but in the next match, I will not show mercy to you. Her confident and arrogant tone would make anyone who didn't know her strength think she was invincible. Is it? Looks like the last lesson Trunks taught you wasn't deep enough. It actually made you have such a crazy idea. I have to say that your current thinking is really very dangerous. Goten raised a flat smile at the corner of his mouth, and then said lightly. He didn't understand why this girl's mouth was so foul. She knew his strength was greater than a Hakushin's, yet she was still so arrogant. It seemed she had gotten the news of the Zeno Expo from Champa. I was just careless last time. But do you still think that I am the same cauliflower from a few months ago? Then you are totally wrong. After months of training, my strength has undergone tremendous changes. Of course, including my teammates. So this time, no matter what, we will defeat your 7th universe, and we will not be humiliated. Cauliflower pointed at the tip of her nose with her thumb and said arrogantly, Dud and Trunks, who the hell is this prattling woman? How arrogant and ignorant. This level of obnoxiousness is really no weaker than Kakarot. Vegeta asked, looking at the arrogant cauliflower in front of him. In the past few years, there had been many arrogant guys in Otherworld, but all fell under his fist. He had absolutely no exception for this chattering woman in front of him. What are you talking about, Vegeta? This girl's arrogant personality is exactly the same as yours. Honestly, could she be your half-sister or something? Goku said immediately, trying to make a point. Obviously, the character of the woman in front of them was more similar to Vegeta. They were both so arrogant and ignorant. Upon hearing this, Vegeta immediately became furious. If it wasn't for the fact that he had to deal with other universe participants together, he really wanted to teach Goku a lesson. Father, her name is Cauliflower, and she is a Saiyan from the 6th universe. In the contest against the 6th universe, a month ago, I battled her, and her strength was very weak. They couldn't even transform into Super Saiyan. Now I can feel that her strength has improved a bit, but she is still very weak. Trunks immediately replied respectfully. Although Cauliflower's strength might have improved, it was still impossible to compare it to theirs.
Ooh.
The Saiyans of the 6th universe, Vegeta said, lightly, a smile on the corner of his mouth. If it's Saiyan, it would make sense to be so arrogant. Most Saiyans were like this, very arrogant and very ignorant, so this made sense. And it's you again? You lost so fast last time that I never had a chance to teach you a lesson. This time I will definitely teach you a lesson. Android 21 took a step forward and looked at Cauliflower with a charming smile. When she participated in the last contest against the 6th universe, she really wanted to teach this arrogant and ignorant woman a lesson, but Trunks had easily defeated Caulifla, so she didn't have a chance to make a move. This time the chance had come. Damn, stop getting carried away here. You want to defeat me with just your weak power? Stop dreaming, Caulifla said with a look of disdain. In her eyes, the only powerful ones in the 7th universe were the Saiyans. This beautiful woman in front of her was just a vase. Everyone in the 6th universe saw Caulifla provoking the 7th universe, and their complexions changed slightly. This woman was really worrying, obviously weak, but she liked to provoke others. Caulifla, hurry up and return, or I'll destroy you right now, Champa immediately said to Caulifla. This bastard's arrogance and ignorance were really troublesome. She had no strength at all, but she always liked to say some arrogant words. It was not wise to provoke the 7th universe now, especially those who wanted to participate in the competition. It was very likely that she would be beaten on the spot. Twaren, and that Trunks, you just wait for me. I will definitely beat you all to the ground later. After Caulifla finished trash-talking, she returned to the 6th universe. Though she might not be strong enough to beat Goten and Trunks, she now had a secret weapon. As long as she and KL fused, their power would be unimaginable. She felt that as long as she merged with KL, she would have the strength to defeat Hakaishin. Ignorant woman, Beerus scowled, not bothering to pay attention to such a small-chested and brainless woman. Swish, swish, swish! At this moment, other universes appeared, one after another. 2nd universe, 3rd universe, 4th universe, 9th universe, 10th universe. But after every universe appeared, they all turned their attention to the 7th universe, revealing deep fear. That guy had indeed made it to the tournament. It seemed 100% impossible to win the final victory of this competition. They just hoped to last a little longer. Swish! With the final sound of breaking through the air, the 11th universe also appeared. The moment they appeared, Goten immediately set his sights on the 11th universe. Standing in the front position was naturally the most powerful fighter in the 11th universe, Jiren Grey. On both sides of him were Toppo and Daspo. Jiren's participation in this fight was expected by Goten, so there was no surprise there. But the moment he saw Jiren, his expression changed instantly, because the Jiren in front of him was completely different from the Jiren in Dragon Ball Super. First, he wore 2 emerald green earrings on his ears. These earrings were the same as those worn by Zemasu and others back then. They were Kaioshin's Potara earrings. And from Jiren's body, Goten sensed the kid of a god. Fusion Jiren, he thought. Jiren was known as the righteous warrior of the 11th universe. Given his aloof personality, he shouldn't have fused to participate in this kind of battle. His appearance hadn't changed much, but the Potara earrings on his ears and the presence of divine ki ID in his body indicated a fusion. It seemed like the target of fusion wasn't someone else. Maybe it was another Jiren. It seems that after I defeated Belmod last time, he held a grudge and developed a strong fear of me. Otherwise, he wouldn't have chosen this approach, Goten thought. This is definitely Belmod's idea, knowing how powerful Goten was. Even Jiren, the most powerful mortal in their universe, was weak in front of Goten. The only way to defeat Goten was to combine 2 Jiren. Goten didn't know where the other Jiren came from, perhaps another timeline, but the purpose of fusing and participating in this tournament must be to get the Super Dragon Balls, to revive his master Gichin, or find the demons who slaughtered his entire family. And that guy from the 11th universe is very powerful. I can feel the Kei-chi of a god from his body. That guy must not be underestimated. There is also immediately sensed Jiren's strength. From Jiren's body, he felt a dangerous ki. This feeling had never been felt in any mortal except Goten, indicating that the man of the 11th universe might have power beyond a Hakaishin. Although this was hard to believe, why were more and more mortals possessing power beyond a Hakaishin? Ah, I feel it too. That guy's strength is indeed extraordinary. It seems that even I would find it difficult to defeat him. Goten nodded seriously. If it was Jiren alone, he wouldn't be concerned. As long as he transformed into the legendary Super Saiyan form, he could easily defeat Jiren. But now the situation was different. This guy was apparently the fusion of 2 Jiren. If different fighters fused, their combat effectiveness would multiply, but if the same fighter fused, their combat effectiveness would expand in Jiren had divine ki in his body. Since it was the same person who combined, they might not be able to separate even if they had more powerful power. The fusion would not disintegrate as soon as possible because of too much power. Beerus-sama Goten, the warrior of the 11th universe, is wearing Kaioshin's Potara earrings. It looks like a fused warrior. After combining with the Potara earrings, the strength will be terribly improved. The 11th universe is too insidious. They want to use this method to win. Shin recognized at a glance that the earrings worn by Jiren were their Kaioshin's Potara earrings. He cursed loudly. How dare they use such an underhanded method to win the tournament? This approach was indeed quite insidious.
A fused warrior?
However, Zeno-sama and Dai Shinken-sama did not expressly prohibit fused fighters from participating in the competition. Beerus frowned. That meant Belmod cleverly exploited a loophole in the rules. Get to him that guy's strength is obviously beyond the level of a Hakushin. If you meet him, how sure are you of victory? Beerus asked with a solemn tone. 60%. That guy's strength is outrageous. In my current state, I may not be able to beat him, Goten said seriously. However, he still had other strategies. If he used them, his confidence might increase to 8. Damn! In other words, the hope of winning has become so slim. Hateful. Belmod, that bastard. Beerus frowned tightly and clenched his fists. Feeling scared at last, Beerus, Belmod taunted. It is undeniable that the mortal of your 7th universe is indeed very strong, but the fused strength of Jiren has almost reached the level of an angel. I don't believe that your Goten from the 7th universe can reach this level. The final winner of this game belongs to our 11th universe. After seeing Beerus' solemn expression, Belmod's face became even more smug. There was no suspense in this game. Jiren would easily defeat Goten of the 7th universe, becoming the most powerful warrior in all universes. Darling, although the fused Jiren has great power, Goten of the 7th universe is definitely not to be underestimated. His strength is still ridiculously strong. If the 7th universe also chooses to combine, then things will be a bit difficult. Angel Margarita reminded him. Even if the combined power of Goten and others was not as strong as that of fused Jiren, you must remember that Goten's basic combat power was far beyond that of a single Jiren. So, if he combined with others, he could also erupt with extremely powerful force. Yes, you're right, Belmod reacted immediately. Afterward, Belmod hurriedly said to Jiren at his side, Jiren, if you want to get the Super Dragon Balls, then your most important opponent is Goten from the 7th universe. So absolutely don't give him any chance to fuse. As soon as the battle starts, you should eliminate Goten from the 7th universe as quickly as possible. Understood? Only this way can you get the last chance to make a wish and bring your master Getchen back to life. That's how he got Jiren to play. The two things Jiren cared about most in the past few years were bringing his master Getchen back to life and finding the enemies who had hurt his master and destroyed his entire family. Understood, Jiren nodded nonchalantly. He looked at Goten from the 7th universe. Although this way of fusing made him feel very disgraceful, he never thought that one day he would merge with another self to deal with someone. But for his master to be resurrected, such shame was nothing to him at all. The Hakushin of other universes also felt the power of Jiren from the 11th universe. They were mortified. Originally, Goten from the 7th universe was too strong for them to handle. Now there was another powerful mortal from the 11th universe. This simply did not give the other universes any way out. At this time in the 7th universe, Beerus' face was still ugly. But Shin suddenly had an idea. Goten, since the 11th universe's fusion is not against the rules, we can also use the Potara earrings for fusion. If you can combine with Trunks, I believe the fighter you create will definitely not be weaker than the fused fighter from the 11th universe. Shin's words made everyone react instantly. Their eyes quickly turned to Goten. Just now, the aura of the combined warrior from the 11th universe was so strong that they ignored this possibility. Since the 11th universe could create fused warriors with Potara earrings, then the 7th universe could use the same method. As long as Goten and Trunks could combine, the fighter created would definitely not be weaker than the fused fighter from the 11th universe. At that time, the possibility of the 7th universe winning the final prize would increase to 90%, or even higher. Shin! You are really smart this time. I just forgot about this method. They let them fuse together. Why can't we? Get your earrings here. Goten, Trunks, you two are the most powerful now. Hurry up and fuse together, Beerus said, excitedly, hurrying to Goten and Trunks. Shin immediately took off his Patara earrings and handed them to Goten and Trunks. Looking at the excited faces of the two, Trunks was ready, but Goten shook his head. I don't think it's necessary. Beerus, Goten's refusal left everyone stunned. This might be the only way to defeat the combined fighters of the 11th universe completely. Unexpectedly, Goten refused. First of all, I believe that with my own strength, I can defeat the fused fighter of the 11th universe. Secondly, Trunks and I are not considered the same. And even if we use Patara earrings to fuse, it would not be permanent. Once the strength exceeds what the Patara earrings can withstand, we will separate immediately. Therefore, this combination is unnecessary, Goten explained. You must know that Vegeta, the fused fighter of Super Saiyan Blue Goku, and Vegeta in the Dragon Ball Super Zamasu chapter, did not reach the level of Hokage. Even under that kind of force, the Patara earrings could not bear it and disintegrated. The power Goten possesses now alone has surpassed Vegeta in the Super Saiyan Blue form, so this fusion simply wouldn't work. How so? Then, why didn't the fusion warrior from the 11th universe separate? Beerus's extremely excited expression wilted instantly. Perhaps that guy is already qualified as the 11th universe Kaioshin or a Kaioshin candidate, so they can fuse together forever. Goten speculated, it turns out that's how it is. Well, since you don't want to fuse together, forget it. I believe in you, even without fusion. You will definitely be able to defeat that guy from the 11th universe. Beerus nodded, choosing to believe in Goten. A warrior who could defeat all Hakushun couldn't lose to a fused mortal from the 11th universe. They had no choice. Now they could only choose to believe in Goten. Yes, I will. I don't want the 7th universe to be wiped out more than any of you. Goten nodded firmly. As a mortal in 2 lifetimes, he didn't want to die more than anyone else. At this moment, the Grand Priest's voice sounded, the tournament is about to start. Hakushin, Kaioshin, and Angels, please move to the auditorium. Goten, Trunks, Goku, and Vegeta, you guys have to win this. Beerus gave another serious reminder. This is a matter of life and death for the universe. Afterwards, several of them jumped and returned directly to the audience stands. The other Hakukeishin, Kaioshin, and Angels also returned to their respective audience stands. Everyone, next I will briefly explain the rules and matters needing attention in this tournament of power, the Grand Priest announced. First of all, the duration of this power tournament is 100 takes. For those unfamiliar with this concept of time, please look at the huge pillar in the center of the ring. When that pillar is fully submerged in the ring, the match is officially over. The key to victory is to send your opponent out of the ring. Falling to the ground, admitting defeat, and losing consciousness do not mean elimination as long as you remain on the ring. Secondly, during the competition, no hidden weapons, recovery potions, or flying can be used except for special races with the ability to fly. Finally, it is not allowed to kill the opponent. If someone is killed, the universe of the killer will be erased immediately. Now, I invite Zeno-sama to say a few words. After the Grand Priest's voice fell, his body retreated to Zeno's side. Zeno's voice sounded, everyone exert all your strength and bring a wonderful match. His speech was concise and clear. Then everyone, the Tournament of Power has officially started, the Grand Priest announced. I can finally start the fight. I've been waiting for this day for a long time. It's exciting, isn't it, Vegeta? Goku said excitedly, gearing up. I will definitely eliminate more than you, Kakarot. Vegeta smiled confidently. Then the two jumped out directly. Father, Goku... Trunks frowned, watching the two who had already flown out. These guys were simply out of control. Okay guys, please unite and form a circle. Stay close to ensure we don't get eliminated. Trunks and Gohan began to organize everyone. Piccolo and Krillin were naturally obedient, and young Trunks stood in the middle since his strength was the weakest. I've already spotted that foul-mouthed woman from the 6th universe. I don't care about uniting or not. Android 21 laughed and walked towards the 6th universe. Even if she was eliminated today, she wanted to teach that woman a lesson. I'm gonna turn them all into chocolate. Majin Buu rushed directly towards the crowd. Trunks and Gohan looked embarrassed. It seemed that uniting this group was not easy. At this time, Goten walked towards Jiren step by step. This guy was his only real opponent in the tournament. As he walked, a brilliant silver aura began to linger around Goten's body. His black hair and pupils turned silvery white in an instant. In an instant, Goten used the perfect Ultra Instinct state. He knew that against the combined Jiren, he couldn't afford to hold back. What? That bastard. Is that what I think it is? Belmod was dumbfounded seeing Goten surrounded by a silver aura. Yes, dear, that's the perfect Ultra Instinct. I didn't expect that mortal from the 7th universe to master perfect Ultra Instinct. This kind of talent is indeed a very top existence among mortals. Angel Margarita commented. Seeing Hakashin Belmod's shock and confusion, Angel Margarita nodded in agreement. She was also extremely surprised. Judging from Goten's current state, he had obviously comprehended the perfect Ultra Instinct. For a mortal, even with an angel's help, to comprehend the perfect Ultra Instinct at such a young age was truly unbelievable. The 12 Hakaishin had trained for Ultra Instinct, but except for Beerus of the 7th universe, no Hakaishin could comprehend it. And even Beerus, who was extremely gifted, had only reached the stage of imperfection. This alone was enough to prove that Goten's potential was indeed ridiculously strong, at least far above Hakaishin. This was evident from his ability to defeat Hakaishin of various universes. Are you kidding? It's just a mortal. Not only does he have the power to surpass the gods, but now he has mastered a divine skill that only angels can master. This kind of achievement is the greatest insult to gods. Belmod clenched his fists hard, anger flaring in his eyes. If he could beat this guy, he would destroy this mortal with his own hands. Because of Goten's existence, these gods were humiliated again and again. At this time, after seeing Goten's Ultra Instinct, the gods from other universes were all astonished beyond measure. They had held on to some optimism, but now they had no hope at all. Goten's original strength already surpassed them, and now he showed the perfect Ultra Instinct. This was simply not something mortals in their universes could overcome. Damn it! That brat from the 7th universe, when did he raise the Ultra Instinct state to perfection? Champa of the 6th universe gritted his teeth. The last time he fought Hit, Goten showed Ultra Instinct, but it was imperfect. How could he have comprehended Ultra Instinct to a perfect level in such a short time? Is that guy truly immortal? Wow, Goten's body is glowing brightly. It's too pretty, don't you think so, Daishinkan? Zeno asked the Grand Priest excitedly. He didn't care who was the strongest, he cared about transformations and anything flashy. At this time, the Ultra Instinct displayed by Goten perfectly aligned with Zeno's aesthetics. Yes, Zeno-sama. Not only is it very beautiful, but it has also become very powerful. Goten really surprises me time and time again with the identity of a mortal. He has trained the Ultra Instinct to perfection. Even with the help of Wiz, it's already pretty amazing. The Grand Priest smiled and nodded. He was quite surprised by Goten's Ultra Instinct. This realm was very difficult to grasp. Even among the gods, what they could master was an imperfect state. Achieving a peaceful state of mind required for Ultra Instinct was beyond ordinary Hakaishin. Goten's previous transformation was irritable and conflicted with Ultra Instinct. That he mastered both was unbelievable and shocking. Most of the gods and angels focused on Jiren and Goten. This battle was the most eye-catching. It's so powerful. Gaiden of the 7th universe has not only mastered such a powerful transformation, but now he has even learned the perfect Ultra Instinct technique. It seems that among the mortals in the 11 universes, there is no one who can compete with him. The final victory of this game should fall on the 7th universe, Hakaishin Gini of the 12th universe said to the other gods and angels. Fortunately, their high, comprehensive mortal level spared them from participating in this competition. Otherwise, their universe would have no confidence in defeating Goten. The gap was immense. I don't think that's necessarily the case. Goten from the 7th universe is ridiculously strong, but in the body of that contestant from the 11th universe, I also sensed great strength. Moreover, the power he unleashed contains divine ki. Maybe that guy can become Goten's opponent. Hakaishin Ivan of the 1st universe expressed a different opinion. After sensing the power of the mortal participants from each universe, aside from those from the 7th universe, the contestant from the 11th universe surprised him the most. The power contained in Jiren's body was ridiculously strong, and it was infused with divine ki. Ivan-sama is absolutely right, Angel Corn of the 8th universe said to everyone with a smile. Although Goten of the 7th universe is really strong, and being able to comprehend the perfect Ultra Instinct shows that his talent has surpassed the Hakateishin level, the participant from the 11th universe should still be stronger than Goten. In this tournament, it's really uncertain who will win or lose. Let's take a good look at it. This will definitely be a battle that even the gods will look up to. As an angel, Korn could feel the aura released from Jiren's body at this moment. That kind of momentum did not lose to Goten, and it was even stronger than when Goten became a Super Saiyan. So this battle was actually between the 11th universe and the 7th universe. If Jiren from the 11th universe won, then the final victory would belong to the 11th universe. If Goten won, the final victory would belong to the 7th universe. The other universes were just along for the ride. Although the Hakateishin of these universes might hope for a scenario where the crane and the clam fight and the fisherman benefits, that sort of thing would never happen. The power possessed by Goten and Jiren was beyond the imagination of other participants. Even if they ended up tiring each other out, only a fraction of their remaining strength would be enough to defeat all participants from other universes. Oh, is it so? If it really ends like that, it would be a joy. To be honest, I don't like Goten from the 7th universe. Maybe it's because he hit me too hard last time, Hakateishin Liquid of the 8th universe said, raising his lips. It was unclear if he was joking or telling the truth, but being beaten by Goten last time really hurt. Dada! Under the attention of all the gods and angels, Goten walked toward Jiren step by step. Jiren's target was obviously only Goten. He knew very well that as long as he defeated Goten from the 7th universe, then there would be no worries in this competition. At the same time, Jiren also walked towards Gao step by step. Wherever they stepped, the hard ground shattered directly. The other universe participants, aware of the immense power these two held, took the initiative to give way, clearing a wide path. Even without reminders from their gods, they could clearly feel the aura in these two individuals. Blocking their way would surely lead to being effortlessly sent out of the arena. That guy's so strong. Just looking at him makes me feel a lot of pressure. There is no doubt that this guy's strength is absolutely outrageous. I wonder if Goten can beat him, Gohan said in an extremely solemn tone. He was now not weaker than his father and Vegeta, but from the alien-like guy on the opposite side, he felt an extremely powerful and oppressive aura. It's really hard to say now, although I have always been very confident in Goten, that guy is really too strong. My intuition tells me that even if I transform into Super Saiyan 4, I will be eliminated by him in an instant, Trunks added in an equally solemn tone. This was definitely the most powerful opponent he had ever met. Even Beerus didn't evoke this level of oppression. Come on, Goten. Be sure to beat that guy, Krillin prayed silently. He had always believed in Goten, but this time the opponent was really too strong. More importantly, if they lost this time, the entire universe would be destroyed. They simply couldn't afford to lose this battle. Finally, under everyone's gaze, Goten and Jiren were only 2 meters apart. Boom, boom. The moment the two looked at each other, an invisible, powerful force began to spread rapidly in all directions around them. Okay, what a terrifying power. Those two guys haven't started fighting yet, and the powerful aura has already made the whole arena tremble violently. Are these two bastards really mortal? Caulifla, who was originally proud and confident, turned solemn after looking at Goten and Jiren. Before they even made a move, the entire arena trembled violently. This was definitely something she couldn't do. The strength of those two guys is so exaggerated that it's hard to imagine. It looks like we can't win this time, Hit said calmly, looking at the two of them. It seemed that the ending would be as he imagined. No matter what tricks he had comprehended or what level he had reached, the outcome of this battle would not depend on these changes. Even though the appearance of the guy from the 11th universe added some variables to this tournament, these variables would not affect the fate of other universes being wiped out. Too strong! The arena is shaking more and more violently, and they haven't even started to fight, and we cannot even feel their burst of ki. Is that guy from the 11th universe really mortal? It's unimaginable, Gohan exclaimed. The faces of Gohan and Trunks became more and more gloomy as they felt the violent vibration of the ring. This kind of power was like an abyss to them. Just looking at Jiren gave them a sense of fear and cowardice. As for the weaker participants, when they looked at Goten and Jiren, they felt that these two were like ancient gods of war. It seemed to them that all the mortals in the entire arena had disappeared, leaving only Goten and Jiren in the entire Null Realm. This battle seemed to belong solely to them. Oh, it seems as that it's not just the entire arena that is shaking under their aura, the entire Null Realm is beginning to shake. It's true that I didn't expect that the power among mortals could shake the entire Null Realm, the Grand Priest said with great interest. This kind of battle had obviously surpassed the Keishin level. This was a battle that all gods had to look up to. It seemed that these universes were truly talented. It's amazing, this game is really very interesting. Daishinkan, who do you think will win the competition? Zeno held his small fists up, looked at the Grand Priest with great excitement, and asked. As for fighting, the Grand Priest knew better than him. Zeno-sama, judging from the current situation, I think Jiren from the 11th universe has a better chance of winning. Although the strength of the 7th universe Goten is ridiculously strong, even if he performed the previous transformation, his realm is still not as good as the current Jiren. If he can't break through to a higher level, or if he can't get more powerful, he won't be able to win this tournament. The Grand Priest turned his head and said respectfully to Zeno. His assessment had some basis. The current Jiren was much stronger than the Goten who fought in the Zeno Temple a few days ago. At that time, Goten seemed to have displayed his full power level. If his strength remained the same, or if he couldn't obtain more power, then the result of this battle was already obvious. Originally, everyone thought that the 7th universe would win this battle. Now it seemed that Jiren had become the biggest variable. On the other side, Goten faced Jiren. Jiren, the strongest fighter in the 11th universe, you have really been famous for a long time. It's just that I didn't expect such a proud fighter to choose to participate in the competition with underhanded tactics like fusion, Goten said with a confident smile. Whatever you say, this taunting method is useless to me. My purpose is very clear, to defeat all of you and get the Super Dragon Balls, Jiren replied calmly. He had more confidence than Goten, feeling that the result of this battle was already determined, with him standing victorious. However, although calm on the surface, Jiren was very surprised in his heart. Belmod-sama was right all along. Goten of the 7th universe is indeed ridiculously strong. If I didn't fuse with another version of myself from another timeline, I would have no chance of winning this battle. But now, the power after the fusion was like a spring constantly growing. It was a power he had never felt before. In his last battle with Angel Margarita, he was not weak at all. Therefore, he believed he would win this battle. Although it was contrary to the justice he had always adhered to and was neither glorious nor fair, he must do so to revive his master and find out who destroyed his entire family. What an unpleasant conversation. In the past, you were a fighter I admired, but now, I am very disappointed in you. So next, I will beat you unceremoniously. The smile on Goten's face began to shrink. After clenching his fist slightly, the silver aura around his body shook. Jiren remained unmoved. He would never let his emotions fluctuate because of a sentence or two. That was an emotion that only weak people showed. It is undeniable that you are stronger than I imagined. It's even more exaggerated than in Belmod-sama's description. If there was no fusion, I know that I am not your opponent. But now you want to beat me? Don't be hopeful, that's something you can't do. Jiren's tone was still extremely flat. If he hadn't done the fusion, he knew that he would never be the opponent of Goten in front of him. This was enough to surprise him. In this world, there were still such powerful mortals, but today, he must win this tournament no matter what. He must get the Super Dragon Balls. No one could stop him from winning this tournament. Yeah? Then try it. At the same time, Goten's voice fell, his body disappeared in a flash, and he punched Jiren hard. Seeing Goten's attack, Jiren didn't choose to dodge at all. Boom. In the next second, Goten's fist landed heavily on Jiren's face, and the terrifying force also distorted half of Jiren's face. His body leaned back slightly, but his feet didn't move. In other words, he suffered a heavy blow from Goten without even moving his body. What? Is that guy kidding me? Goten hit him with a heavy blow and he didn't even move his feet. Beerus' face changed instantly. Even a Hakushin would be seriously injured with this punch.
His expression became more solemn.
Although he could feel that Jiren from the 11th universe was really too strong, he didn't expect that with the strength of his body. He could forcibly hold Goten's punch and not even back down if he were replaced by a Hakushin. This punch would be enough to cause serious injuries. Was this guy so scary? Hey! It is indeed a bit very powerful. It seems that the combined Jiren from the 11th universe already has strength comparable to an angel. If Goten wants to win this battle, he must break through his own limit and have stronger power than he has now, Wiz said in surprise. Although Goten's potential was indeed very strong, breaking through in this situation was improbable. Jiren from the 11th universe was much stronger than Goten, making it difficult for Goten to defeat him. Jiren, please do your best. Shin and Kibito clenched their fists tightly, cheering Goten in their hearts. Since Goten defeated Janemba and Majin Buu last time, in their minds he was already invincible. Today, they felt that Goten would definitely be able to defeat the warrior from the 11th universe. Hey, stupid Beerus, see the difference between our two universes? No matter how powerful Goten of your universe is, he can never be a match for Jiren. The final winner of this game is our 11th universe. Your 7th universe will be the first to be eliminated. Belmod mocked triumphantly, his face filled with anticipation. Stop farting, Belmod. Do you think Goten from our universe will lose to that big-eyed monster from your universe? Your jokes are more commendable than your fighting skills. Beerus snorted coldly, responding angrily. Even though Whis had expressed doubts, Beerus believed Goten would never lose so easily. This was his intuition, as Hakatishin and his confidence in Goten. After seeing the fused warrior from the 11th universe, Goten didn't show any panic. In other words, he would definitely be able to defeat the combined warrior of the 11th universe. Oh, looks like you have run out of things to say. Whatever you say, Belmod responded with a relaxed expression, turning away from Beerus. He could imagine Beerus gnashing his teeth. Jiren, after taking a punch from Goten, apparently suffered no harm. After gently wiping his cheek, the bruise on his face disappeared instantly. He looked at Goten indifferently and said, "Is your strength only at this level?" The moment the voice fell, he punched Goten directly in the stomach. Reciprocity must be shown. He knew such an attack would be easy for Goten to dodge, but he didn't want to solve the battle instantly. Goten was a rare good opponent. Goten curled his lips and didn't dodge. He could sense that Jiren wasn't attacking with all his might. It seemed Jiren still looked down on him too much. Boom! In the next second, Jiren's fist hit Goten's stomach heavily. A powerful wave of air swept across the audience, directly eliminating some weak participants under this powerful shockwave. The attacks of these two are too heavy. It's surprising that just relying on the shockwave generated by one punch directly eliminated so many participants, the Grand Priest said, quite surprised. It was hard for those other universe participants. With just one blow, just the shockwave, dozens of participants were directly eliminated. The faces of the other universe gods darkened instantly. This shockwave alone eliminated 4 or 5 participants from each of their universes. If these two guys fought seriously, a random shockwave could eliminate their entire universe. Even the entire arena could be destroyed. The Grand Priest started announcing the eliminated participants one by one. At this time, the contestants who eliminated the most universes were from the 9th universe and the 10th universe. At this moment in the ring, there were only 2 participants left from each of their universes. If another accident happened, the 2 universes would be completely wiped out by Zeno. Although their hearts were in their throats at this time, they couldn't do anything. Even if they were allowed to destroy the metaphysical field, the final result would not change. The fight was still going on. Most of the contestants in the arena had already started to tremble because they couldn't guarantee when they would be pushed out by a powerful force. On the other side, Jiren's fist also hit Goten's lower abdomen heavily. However, it also did not have much of an effect. Goten's body didn't take a step back either. It looks like your strength is nothing more than that, and your attack is so weak. Goten sneered, a confident smile on the corner of his mouth. Jiren, that Goten guy is definitely not easy to deal with. Don't give him too much time to grow. Get rid of him as quickly as possible, otherwise there may be another accident. Belmod communicated with Jiren using the sound transmission technique. A mortal who had lived for less than 50 years could possess such powerful power. Maybe this guy had the potential to break through at any moment. If the fight continued like this, Jiren was likely to capsize in the gutter. This was something their entire 11th universe was unwilling to see. Understood, Belmod-sama? Jiren responded silently. He had already felt it. Next, it was really necessary to fight hard. If this were just an ordinary match, he would have had a fair and just fight with Goten. But it was a pity he must win the final victory in this match. Jiren then said to Goten, "Don't think I didn't see it. You just increased the strength of your body at the moment. You were attacked. But even so, it's enough to surprise me that you were able to receive my punch just now. Next, I won't show mercy." Jiren's face remained calm. Without any waves, this Goten was indeed very strong. It seemed that the battle must be resolved as soon as possible. Otherwise, accidents might happen at any time. As for accidents, this was something he would never allow and cannot tolerate. Then come, I will also use all my strength to fight," Goten said with a very serious face. Next was the real battle. After the voice fell, Goten exited Ultra Instinct mode. He knew that with Ultra Instinct, there was no way he could defeat Jiren. Afterwards, the aura around Goten's body began to dissipate little by little. At this time, everyone saw that Goten had withdrawn from Ultra Instinct state. They guessed that he was going to undergo the previous transformation. Although Ultra Instinct was enough to shock them, in terms of strength, it seemed that it was indeed not as good as the previous transformation. Fighting such a powerful Jiren in front of him, it was obvious that only by transforming could he exert the most powerful force. Yeah! Goten seems to be transforming again. I'm really looking forward to it. My favorite thing is to see Goten transform, Zeno exclaimed excitedly after seeing Goten quit the Ultra Instinct mode. It looks like he is, the Grand Priest nodded, but he didn't hold out much hope for Goten. Although Goten's strength was very strong, even if he completed the strongest transformation, it was impossible to beat Jiren from the 11th universe. Under everyone's attention, Goten clenched his fists. Ha! The deep roar was released from his throat instantly, accompanied by terrifying roars and powerful airwaves. The entire Null realm began to tremble crazily again. A wave of air continued to spread in all directions. Those other universe participants who were relatively close were directly blown away by this powerful airwave. What? Are you kidding me? This brat seems to be much stronger than last time. How is this possible? It's just short time that has passed, and there was not enough time. Why has his strength become so powerful again? Could it be that the bastard held back his strength in the previous battle with all Hakushin? The faces of all gods changed instantly after feeling the power emanating from Goten. Just a day ago, this guy's strength was definitely not this strong, but just over a day later, his strength had undergone earth-shaking changes. Immortal! This speed of ascension was simply rubbing all their Hakushin on the ground. Especially Belmod from the 11th universe, the clown's face became even uglier. Jiren! Get rid of Goten as fast as you can! That guy's strength is much stronger than when we fought before. Belmod immediately commanded Jiren using the voice transmission technique. Whoa! That's unexpected, Beerus-sama! When he fought the gods before, I clearly felt that Goten had already exerted all his strength. But in just over a day, his strength has improved so much. What the hell is going on here? Wiz also looked dazed and shocked. Why did Goten change so much in just one day? Never mind him. Anyway, Goten's improvement in strength is a good thing. I don't want to care about how he improved his strength. Now, as long as he can defeat the fused Jiren from the 11th universe, that's fine. Beerus said excitedly. Yes. Beerus-sama is right, Shin quickly echoed. Swish! And just when everyone was shocked and dazed, Goten's hair instantly turned vibrant green. Golden lightning flashed around his body. At this time, he once again transformed into the form of the legendary Super Saiyan 2. But this time, his strength was obviously much stronger than before. La. Golden lightning flashed constantly around his body. The feeling of that powerful force constantly wandering in the body was really very comfortable. Is this the strength after being boosted by the Super Shenron? Gently clenching his fist, explosive power erupted from his body. It seems that I am indeed much stronger than before, and my strength is increasing every day, much faster than before. Obviously, the reason why his strength could be raised to such a level in such a short period of time was mainly because Super Shenron developed his potential to the extreme, and the bloodline had also been improved to the limit. What a strong force. Is this the real power of this guy? It looks like I have to get rid of him quickly. After feeling the power of Goten, Jiren also narrowed his eyes slightly. Whizzing! The next moment, the two rushed towards each other in an extremely tacit understanding. Then they blasted out with a punch. Rumble! The moment the fists collided, a terrifying shockwave spread instantly. The solid surface of the arena was constantly being destroyed, layer by layer swept up. Those participants with mid and low strength had already been eliminated by the powerful shockwave at this time. They no longer had a sense of participation in this battle that even the gods had to look up to. They didn't even have the qualifications to participate with them. Whew! Zeno-sama! All the members of a few universes have already been eliminated. The Grand Priest looked at the situation in front of him and then said to Zeno, "This ending was also expected. After all, the gap between the other universes and the 7th universe and the 11th universe was really too big." Yeah! Has a universe been eliminated so soon? If this is the case, then we can only follow the rules we set before, and they will be erased. Zeno said in a childish tone. Yes, the Grand Priest nodded. Then he opened his mouth and announced, 9th universe, 10th universe, all 10 contestants have been eliminated. Therefore, the 9th universe and 10th universe will be completely erased. After the Grand Priest's voice fell, the faces of everyone from the 9th and 10th universes were filled with horror. Unexpectedly, in just a few minutes of the tournament, their 2 universes were completely eliminated. 9th universe and 10th universe. Your strength is really a bit too weak. Since this is the case, then you all disappear. After hearing the Grand Priest's voice, Zeno's voice became emotionless. He raised his right hand high and shook it lightly. A mass of silver-white energy flashed instantly. At this time, a white halo appeared on the bodies of everyone from the 9th universe and the 10th universe, including the universes themselves. Zeno-sama! Please forgive us! Please spare us! All the gods and participants began to cry and beg for mercy, but their pleas had no effect, surrounded by the white halo. Everyone in the 2 universes, including the universes themselves, disappeared without a trace. They completely disappeared from existence. Was the 9th and 10th universe really erased? Beerus asked quickly. Yes, Beerus-sama, the 9th universe and the 10th universe have completely disappeared. Whis nodded seriously. What Zeno said would naturally come true. At this time, the faces of all the Hakkei-shin and Kaioshin revealed expressions of horror. Unexpectedly, those 2 universes were erased so easily. Then, their ending was probably the same. Boom! Boom! At this time in the ring, Goten and Jiren were still fighting fiercely. Every time their fists collided, the arena collapsed and exploded on a large scale. Some participants from other universes were already trembling with fear, hiding in the farthest corners of the arena. But with the entire arena only 1,000 meters long, it was impossible to completely avoid the danger. Boom! Boom! At this moment, the bodies of Jiren and Goten had turned into 2 super powerful light beams, one red and one green, colliding constantly. The battle of other participants continued as well. Goku and Vegeta took the lead in choosing Disbelief and Toppo of the 11th universe. Since they wanted to be the first to send the 7th universe out of the ring, everyone in the 7th universe had the same idea. After a fierce battle, Goku still couldn't eliminate Toppo, and it was difficult to even defeat him. The same went for Vegeta. Although Daspo's overall strength was not as good as Vegeta's, his speed was ridiculously fast. Relying on this advantage, he constantly toyed with Vegeta. Bang bang. After the 4 clashed fists, they all retreated more than 10 meters. Vegeta. It seems that these guys from the 11th universe are not easy to deal with. If we don't use the form of Super Saiyan God, it is impossible to completely eliminate the 2 of them. It looks like we have to show our real strength, Goku said to Vegeta beside him with a calm face, though there was a hint of excitement in his eyes. He didn't expect other universe participants to be so good. It seemed that this competition was worth participating in. Are you teaching me how to do things, Kakarot? I'm just having fun with this guy. Do you think I can't deal with a wild rabbit? Vegeta sneered, responding to Goku. Although Dispo's speed was indeed very fast, Vegeta had not shown his full strength. Once he did, eliminating Dispo would be easy. Hey, let's go together. Goku understood Vegeta's intentions. This guy definitely wanted to fight in a higher form. That Vegeta liked to hate him so much. The waste of the 11th universe lets you take a good look at this prince's power. After Vegeta's extremely proud voice fell, he immediately pointed to the tip of his nose with his thumb. Don't get too carried away, mortals of the 7th universe. I have to admit that your strength is indeed very strong. But it is impossible for you to defeat me, Toppo said coldly. Although the 2 guys from the 7th universe were hiding more powerful power, he hadn't fought with all his strength yet. As long as he did, he could eliminate the 2 7th universe participants in a very short time. Your arrogance really annoys me. If that's the case, then lie obediently at my feet. Vegeta spoke with incomparable confidence. Then he clenched his fists violently, and the powerful divine energy in his body swept out instantly. Oh. Along with the roar, blue Kiora flames shot out around Vegeta's body. Immediately afterwards, his hair and pupils turned blue. Apparently, the two of them had pushed the limits of Super Saiyan God after Whis' special training and achieved the Super Saiyan Blue transformation. This powerful force made Vegeta and Goku more confident. Then, I'll come too, Goku said, with a smile, after seeing Vegeta transform into Super Saiyan Blue. In a moment, he also transformed into Super Saiyan Blue. At this time, the strength of the two was obviously equal. What? These two guys really had hidden their strength. Just now, I thought they were just talking big. Disbelief said in surprise after watching Goku and Vegeta's hair turn blue. Although his speed was very fast, his strength was obviously not as good as Vegeta's before. He could only hold Vegeta down with his super fast speed, but now that guy's strength had been upgraded again. The next bout would be much more difficult to handle. Don't worry about it, Dispo. If it is a last resort, I can only give up justice and fight with my true strength, Toppo said, comforting Dispo. Although he didn't want to do that before becoming a real Hakushin. Once the universe was threatened, he had to do it. Dispo nodded quickly. At that moment, Goku and Vegeta launched an attack immediately. The speed of both of them was ridiculously fast. Almost in the blink of an eye, they arrived in front of Toppo and Dispo, then punched out. Their actions were perfectly cinched. After all, they had known each other for decades and trained together for more than 10 years. Such tacit understanding was not surprising at all. Seeing Goku and Vegeta rushing towards them, Toppo and Dispo wanted to dodge, but it was obviously impossible. They quickly raised their arms to block their heads. Bang, bang. The moment two low-pitched collision sounds echoed. Dispo and Toppo were directly blown away by a punch. Toppo just brushed the ground with his feet and retreated a distance of 4 or 5 feet while Dispo's body was blown away by Vegeta's punch. This showed the qualitative gap between Dispo and the three of them. Ha, ha, ha. After gaining the advantage with one punch, Goku and Vegeta followed immediately, launching a storm-like attack. Toppo could barely handle Goku's offense, but Dispo had completely lost the ability to parry. Vegeta's heavy punches kept landing on his face. Bang, bang. In just a few seconds, Vegeta had thrown thousands of punches. Dispo's entire bunny face was bruised and swollen. There were also injuries of varying degrees on his body, and his breath was chaotic. As for Toppo, although there were no obvious injuries, the numbness in his arms made him quite uncomfortable. Rabbit, get out of the ring now. Vegeta raised the corner of his mouth and said proudly. He stood sideways, his palm aimed at Dispo, and terrifying energy instantly condensed from his palm. Go down! The ki blast exploded from his palm in an instant, and the solid arena was instantly blasted into a huge sinkhole. Dispo's body was also directly blown out, falling outside the ring and back into the 11th Universe's auditorium. I'm sorry, Belmod-sama, Kai-sama. Those guys from the 7th Universe are too strong, Dispo said with embarrassment and shame. Don't worry too much about it, Dispo. You did a good job just now, and this time you would not be able to affect the final result of the tournament at all. Now stay here and enjoy Jiren's performance, Belmod said nonchalantly. Although Dispo was a very strong participant in the Pride Troopers, he was the most powerful existence besides Jiren and Toppo in this competition. But since the moment Jiren fused, the other participants had become completely irrelevant. Whether they stayed in the ring or were eliminated, it would not impact the tournament. Yes, Belmod-sama. Dispo knew what Belmod was thinking. He turned his gaze to the arena. He couldn't appreciate the fight between Jiren and Goten because that battle was no longer something he could see clearly. All he could see were one red and one green light colliding continuously and erupting with astonishing shockwaves. He couldn't tell who had the upper hand at all. Instead, he turned his attention to the battle between Toppo and Goku. The battle between them was more comprehensible. Goku and Toppo seemed to be in a stalemate, their hands clasped together, fighting with all their strength. The hard ground under their feet continued to collapse, and dazzling electric arcs flickered around their bodies. It was not easy to tell the winner. But at this moment, Vegeta's body suddenly appeared behind Toppo. An energy wave condensed instantly. Hey, Kid Kakarot, since you can't beat this guy, let me help you. The moment Vegeta sneered, the energy ball in his palm blasted out. Toppo, engaged in a power confrontation with Goku, felt the energy fluctuation and the aura of Vegeta behind him, but he had no way to escape. He could only let the energy ball hit his back. Boom! Rumble. The moment Toppo was hit by the energy ball, his whole body was instantly swallowed by the rolling energy. Even Goku was affected. The two had to give up their confrontation. Hey Vegeta, this is my battle. What are you doing here? Goku said, obviously a little unhappy. After all, it was a one-on-one battle between him and Toppo, and he didn't want Vegeta to help. Stop being naive, Kakarot. Don't say such stupid things in this kind of tournament. Vegeta cursed at Goku and said in a cold voice, if you lose to these guys, the entire universe will be destroyed. Even if you don't care about the lives of your family, I care about mine. If it was an ordinary fight, Vegeta would definitely not interfere with the fight between Goku and others. But this tournament mattered. Once lost, both Bulma and Trunks would be killed. He was finally resurrected and reunited with his family. He would never allow this kind of thing. At this moment, Toppo's figure appeared from the billowing smoke. He was in very battered shape. The combat suit on his upper body had been completely destroyed, and his back was scorched black. Vegeta's sneak attack just now caused him a lot of damage. Even the ki in his body was beginning to become disordered. A bastard who only sneaks up on you from behind. I will never forgive you for acting like a villain. Your kind should be completely eliminated, Toppo said with extremely cold eyes. Yeah? Looking at how battered you are now, you still want to get rid of me? You can come here and try, Vegeta sneered, waving to Toppo. After the blow just now, Toppo's ki had become disordered, and his strength was not as good as before. So now Vegeta was confident he could easily beat Toppo. Looking at Vegeta's arrogant expression, Toppo's eyes became incomparably calm. No more... Both Goku and Vegeta were startled. They couldn't understand what Toppo meant. Could it be that he also felt the gap in strength between them and wanted to give up this match? Although it was useless, they had to admit that this was the best choice, because even if he continued to fight, he had no chance of winning. Justice that can't crush evil, I don't want it. Toppo said again before Goku and the others figured out what he meant. I want to completely crush you villains. There is no need for justice that cannot protect its own universe. Then he looked at Goku and Vegeta with unusually cold eyes. Ha! At that moment, Toppo suddenly roared. A terrifying divine ki was instantly released from his body. His skin color changed to dark purple, his body was surrounded by purple ki aura flames, and his eyes glowed purple. Strange red symbols appeared between his chest and lower abdomen. Okay, what a powerful divine aura! This guy's aura is very similar to Beerus-sama. Is Toppo also a Hakayashi? Goku and Vegeta were immediately shocked. You have nowhere to run, Toppo continued coldly. Then his body flashed, and he was in front of Goku and Vegeta in an instant. The speed was so amazing that Goku and Vegeta couldn't react at all. After all, their current strength had only reached the initial stage of Super Saiyan Blue. Bang bang! 2 punches hit the chests of Goku and Vegeta, precisely. Wow. A mouthful of blood spewed out from their mouths, and their bodies were directly shocked by the punches, retreating a distance of hundreds of feet. After smashing several rocks heavily, they fell to the ground. Arg. After struggling to stand up, their faces were full of pain. Damn it, how did this guy suddenly become so powerful? And his aura is now very similar to Beerus-sama. Has this guy also become a Hakyushin? Are you kidding? Wasn't it said that a universe only allows one Hakyushin? Vegeta frowned deeply, completely different from his nonchalant attitude just now. At the moment when Toppo attacked, Vegeta realized how powerful this guy was. Although he and Goku had broken through to the realm of Super Saiyan Blue after training with Whis, it was obviously impossible to win against Toppo's destroyer form. This guy is too strong. Even if the two of us join forces, we won't be his opponent at all. What should we do next? Goku's face was also extremely serious. Before, he thought that he could defeat Toppo with his own strength, but this guy's current strength was completely incomparable to before. Even if he and Vegeta joined forces, it would be impossible to defeat Toppo. The energy of destruction? Are you kidding me? How could that wretch from the 11th universe master the energy of destruction? What the hell is going on? What the hell did that clown Belmod do? Thackerus said, with an incomparably solemn expression above the 7th universe auditorium. Beerus-sama, it seems Toppo of the 11th universe has undergone special training. It is also possible that he himself is the candidate for Hawk-Ishin of the 11th universe. From the looks of it, he chose to ascend to become a Hawk-Ishin, was explained. However, this method was indeed a bit too underhanded because a Hawk-Ishin was not allowed to participate in this tournament. You guessed it, right, Wes. Toppo is our 11th universe candidate for Hawk-Ishin. Letting him participate in the competition does not violate the rules at all because he was indeed mortal before. It's just a breakthrough in the tournament, which is a normal thing, Belmod said proudly and sinisterly, looking at the 7th universe side. He especially enjoyed looking at Beerus, whose face had become even gloomier. Every time he saw Beerus's deflated and unhappy expression, it made him happy from the bottom of his heart. Now, the tournament was completely controlled by their 11th universe. Although several participants from their universe were eliminated, it didn't matter. As long as Jiren and Toppo were not eliminated, they would not lose the tournament. Now, Jiren had completely held Goten down and was in absolute dominance. Then Hakaishin Toppo, who gave up his justice and fought for survival, could easily eliminate all the participants in the 7th universe. Even if there was no winner decided in the end by the merit of the number of survivors, their Universe 11 would win. Damn. Gam clown. Do you know that you have violated the rules by doing this? Aren't you afraid of being destroyed by Zeno-sama? Beerus snapped loudly. This guy was such a rascal. First, the Super Warrior was created using Kaioshin's Potara earrings. Now they even sent the candidate Hakashin to the ring, making it so there was no need for other universes to continue playing. Huh? I think Toppo from the 11th universe performed very well just now. And he has become very powerful. This shouldn't be considered a violation, Daishin-kan. Zeno spoke. Clearly he didn't want Toppo's strengthening to be considered a violation because in that case he would not be able to see what happened next in the Great Tournament. Yes, Zeno-sama, it's really not a violation. Then let's continue the tournament, the Grand Priest responded, understanding Zeno's intention. These words made Beerus's complexion even worse. Knowing this, he wished he had taught Goten and Trunks about the energy of destruction. It was too late to say anything now. That Toppo from the 11th universe had turned into a real Hakashin. Now, for example, Goku and Vegeta, even if they added Trunks, they would definitely not be able to win. Skinny. Although our 6th universe may not be able to win the final prize, seeing that your universe is also facing such a problem, I'm much happier, Champa sneered after seeing Beerus' ugly face. Shut your stinking mouth. You fat pig, Beerus cursed. He thought that once he won the final championship, he would use the wish of Super Shenron to revive Champa, but now that it had reached this point, this guy actually said such things. It seemed that he had thought too much before. At this time, in the arena, Hakaishin Toppo walked towards Goku and Vegeta step by step. A purple destructive aura lingered around his body. Wherever he went, the gravel and dust in the air turned into purple spots of light. Wherever he stepped, the ground was scorched black. You two, there is no need to stay in the ring anymore, Toppo said haughtily. 2 purple destructive energies instantly condensed and shot towards Goku and Vegeta. Don't get carried away, you pathetic bastard, who can't even hold back your own pride. I, Vegeta, won't be defeated by trash like you. Vegeta roared, blue flames erupting from his body. He immediately blasted a big bang attack towards Toppo. Kamehameha! Goku simultaneously unleashed his Kamehameha attack. But their combined assault had no effect on Toppo. The moment their powerful ki blasts touched the destructive energy, they were completely annihilated. What? This guy, it's a bit outrageous. Seeing their ki blasts being destroyed with ease, Vegeta's face became serious. If they had gotten rid of him before he became a Hakashin, there wouldn't have been so many problems. But it was too late now. Whoosh! As Goku and Vegeta stood in shock, Toppo's body flashed, and he was in front of them in an instant. His hands clasped their cheeks like steel grips, and he propelled them towards the edge of the ring like a missile. Goku and Vegeta's bodies were pressed to the ground, leaving 2 long, deep ravines. Their battle suits were completely tattered. It's over! It's over. This time we're really going to be eliminated. There is no strength to resist. Although Goku and Vegeta wanted to resist, they had no strength left. Regret and unwillingness filled their hearts. They didn't expect to be eliminated so soon. Dad, Dad, Gohan and Trunks shouted, seeing their fathers being overpowered. They clenched their fists tightly. Gohan transformed into his Super Saiyan God form, while Trunks became Super Saiyan 4. They launched Ki Blasts simultaneously at Toppo. Toppo was cautious not to kill Goku and Vegeta completely, fearing disqualification. As Goku and Vegeta were only a few feet away from being thrown out of the ring, Trunks and Gohan's energy attacks hit Toppo precisely. The impact blew Toppo away, allowing Goku and Vegeta to stand up, albeit extremely battered. Their upper body clothes were worn out, and they had extensive scars. They exited their Super Saiyan blue form, knowing their physical limits. Damn it! Vegeta was furious, his haughty self-esteem shattered. Meanwhile, Goku was thinking about how to defeat Toppo. Gohan and Trunks appeared in front of Toppo. Villains who sneak up on others from behind. Your 7th universe will always be at this level, Toppo sneered. You can say what you want, but you, a warrior who can't even uphold his own justice and pride, is simply not qualified to judge us. Trunks replied calmly. In his Super Saiyan 4 form, his strength was ridiculously strong, with greater stamina than Super Saiyan Blue. The strength in your body is impressive, but not enough to defeat me, Toppo said, his tone dripping with disdain. Despite his formidable power, Trunks felt that Toppo wasn't invincible. Toppo hadn't fully transformed into a true Hakashin. He was merely imitating the form. You can't irritate me with words like that. The moment I stepped into this arena, I already deeply understood that justice and evil are not so important anymore. Survival and victory are the only things I have to stick to, and all of you will be completely eliminated by me, Toppo said disapprovingly. If the entire universe disappeared, everything they guarded would be gone. So what was the point of justice? When he stepped into this arena, he had already thought about giving up his own justice. At this moment, he didn't have any psychological burden. Don't think that if you become a little stronger, you can stand on the commanding heights and talk to us like this. Don't say you haven't become the real Hakkasen. Even if you are the real Hakkasen, we will never lose. Gohan and Trunks clenched their fists at the same time and said to Toppo. In the next second, the two rushed directly towards Toppo. Trunks had significantly more speed and power than Gohan. The moment he reached Toppo, he punched out. It's useless. For an existence on the level of Hakashin, attacks like yours have no effect, Toppo said coldly, instantly condensing the destructive energy with one hand. If the mortals in front of him attacked the destructive energy, they would definitely end up dead. If it was the death caused by their active attack, then it had nothing to do with him. Thus, he wouldn't be disqualified if they died due to their hubris. Stop talking to us in this condescending stance. You're just a half-baked Hakishin. I won't lose to you, Trunks roared. The golden flames around his body instantly condensed on his fist. What about the power of destruction? Just a half-baked Hakishin. He would not be afraid. In this tournament, he would definitely not lose. He couldn't let Goten down. Boom! At the moment of punching out, Toppo originally thought that Trunks' body would disappear immediately, but what he didn't expect was that Trunks' fist directly punched through his destructive energy. The moment the fist hit his palm, Toppo's body was blasted back. His feet rubbed against the ground, and he backed away dozens of feet before stopping. At this time, Gohan's attack followed closely. Well done, Trunks. That's how you take down that guy, Vegeta shouted excitedly. He didn't expect Trunks to be so powerful. Trunks was his son, so even if Trunks won, he would feel proud. Come on, Trunks and Gohan. Goku cheered, his face filled with excitement. As they took a brief break, several participants from the 6th universe walked towards them step by step. Leading them was Hit, the assassin of the 6th universe. They had just received an order from Hakaishin Champa to take out Goku and Vegeta of the 7th universe. Because the strength of those two guys was quite remarkable. If they fully recovered from their injuries, it would be difficult to eliminate them again. Although Hit was unwilling to take advantage of others, this matter concerned the safety of their universe. He had to do it. Damn. After seeing us in a pinch, even this kind of rabble has come to challenge us. Vegeta frowned tightly. It was definitely impossible to become Super Saiyan Blue now, but the guy at the head was very strong. His intuition told him that they definitely couldn't handle it. Vegeta, that guy is very powerful. The two of us simply can't handle it. The only thing we can do to get started in this tournament right now is to do fusion, Goku said with an extremely solemn expression. They had already learned how to do fusion when they were in the other world.